initiate issues. You don't have fights first. You have rending. That's really good.
Yeah.
G3 is meaningful in some situations, but for me, it's too random.
Where is this?
I will take it into teams that have 8 wounds or less because
you can make ploys cost more. That's really good.
I actually had a question about that one. Is a CP reroll considered a ploy?
Oh yeah.
So if he does a CP roll and I play DSQ miss, now pay 2 for
the
rerolls?
next time he wants to reroll is 2. Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of annoying.
it's really good. Skipping your activation is awesome.
Isn't that banking an activation?
Yeah. So it's your turn to go. Say it's a really uneventful turn 1. Yeah. Nobody's moved up the board terribly far. You're all playing really safe because you're scared of each other. Turning point 2, there's nothing pertinent to follow up on. Like if he's here and you're here, turning point 2, you want first because you can kill a Marine right away.
Potentially.
And like that operative may die, but that's fine. Unless you're going for confirmed kill, in which case you would want like your second guy over here to help follow up. So you'd have one guy going for the kill early, turning point 1, because trading 1 for 1 is pure value for you.
Right.
And then
I have 9 operatives and you have 6.
Exactly. And then at the very end of the turning point, your other guy can go in and secure the confirmed kill token. But if there's no threats, take the command point.
Right.
If there's nothing that's like, oh, if I don't deal with this right now, I'm losing points.
Yeah.
You don't need first. You'd rather have the command points.
Do you have any tips for our team specifically for going for the midpoint? Would we like to send several units to it? Would we like to just I don't know, what would be the best strategy?
If you're going for, you want to get better at TAC op, Plant Beacons is a really good one for Phobos.
Right.
Into this matchup, and on this map, I'd say TAC op is going to be hard either way.
Okay.
So I'd be tempted to play Plant Beacons. Definitely Reavers is the option, and that's why I'm getting to this, because at that point, looking at it objectively already, the map is harder for Plant Beacons, and it's the same for you. That's why I said I would consider confirm kill, but even then, you know the team you're up against. As soon as you go for Plant Beacons and you go and expose yourself to plant that beacon, probably on your last activation, so that there's not much left that he has to punish you for that. I wouldn't go for TAC op as your primary.
Okay.
Because
it
you have
might be too complicated.
Exactly, and it's too hard to score reliably without getting punished really heavily.
Right.
And it's the same with confirm kill. If your opponent is playing around the fact that they're aware of confirm kill, especially in turn point 3 and 4, they can make it really hard for you to score by making it so that the only time you kill something,
it's far away from you.
Yeah, it's far away from you, or you kill that guy and he's on the inch in, inch out, right? So you had to have your guy here charge over
and then
kill him.
I can't pick up tokens.
Exactly. So then it's over here. It's right there. Sure, its control range is on the other side, but then another Marine comes in and sits right there.
And probably goes and kills this guy anyways, then there's no one to come and do anything.
Yeah, either you deal with that second Marine, or you cannot control that token.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
I guess I've been reluctant to do confirm kill because I feel like the first time you kill someone, you reveal confirm kill.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of telegraphs that you're hunting kills. Like you're definitely going to kill people.
Yeah.
But that might, I mean, isn't a bad thing necessarily.
And that can get into mind games, right? So then if you go confirm kill and choose crit op as your primary, because we're on transmission, and you out-activate your opponent and have pseudo 3 APL, it's not hard for you to control 2 transmitting objectives.
Right.
And that's what I would say for you, for trying to go for the middle.
Yeah.
It's a good question because it's difficult in this matchup.
Okay.
Because you know.
So-
we just had a
Would you say that then plant beacons would be a better tack op against a slower team? Because you can just sort of run around them and plant beacons,
yeah,
and they have a harder time chasing you because they're slow,
exactly.
right?
And
Like if I'm
And-
playing Plague Marines who have a 5 movement, I'll just be planting beacons and running
yeah,
away.
yeah, you can wait until you see a pocket where it's harder for them to get at you, or you can run in, right? Because you need your pain token to do 3 APL.
Yeah.
So choose somebody who's already got one, run in, plant your beacon, and then smoke grenade yourself somewhere where you can't be charged. And because you got to do it when you're out activating them. I'd say going for the middle, you want your ignore obscuring guys, so you can do so from like over here. Incursors can threaten this objective.
Right.
Like if you can see in, you don't care if you're getting obscured. So anything that goes in there, you can shoot.
Get
4
clean
on
shots
3s,
them.
4 on 3s, 3/4 is
Yeah.
a really good profile
And against
elves.
elves,
Yeah.
there's a good
Even-
chance of killing an elf.
Even if you have to shoot twice,
Okay.
it's not ideal because for you, you're not only are you looking at like with the body difference, having 3 less bodies, your actions mean a lot more.
Right.
Like getting double kills is how you win.
Okay.
So using 2 actions to kill 1 elf, if it scores you points, if it's the difference between you holding a transmitting objective or not, incredible.
Yeah. All right.
But in an ideal world, you can have your lethal assaults and have your blades equipment.
Yeah.
So you can charge, fight, and kill an elf that doesn't have a power weapon and tons of extra poison rules to kill you anyway.
How many of your elves are like very strong in melee?
It's a
So
well-balanced team.
it's pretty well balanced.
Okay.
The flare is pretty good. She's I think she's 4/5 with ceaseless on her flare, so she's decent. Really, the best melee unit is the Crimson Duelist.
Okay.
Because she hits on 2s with her flail, and she's 4/5, and she has brutal, which means
No
Yeah.
parries.
parrying her is hard.
Okay.
And she has a thing where if she doesn't kill you right away, if the fight resolves and you're both still standing, she can fight you again.
I see.
So
That's pretty
she's
good.
probably my best melee unit.
Yeah.
Like hands down. Actually, she is hands down my best
But
melee unit.
way more effective for you if you're the one starting the fight.
Yeah.
Because then you can double fight.
Has to be against the same unit, but against guys who have 12 wounds, that's ideal. Especially if she doesn't die. Like a walk in and be like, blam blam, oh, you took 7 points of damage, you're still alive still? Okay, I'm gonna fight you again.
Yeah,
And
you get
finish
that
you.
pain token
Yeah.
and do it again.
And if she's hurt, she can heal herself and then fight you again,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Exactly. And that's another thing you guys will get with reps is knowing your opponent's team.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
How much do you know about Phobos?
I played them once. I don't know a lot. I mean, I know general Astartes stuff. I know they have slightly less wounds and they're fast. I know that they don't really care if people are obscured, particularly, and I know that they get a lot of free mission action stuff, so that they're really good at accumulating points on mission points.
2 huge other things to be aware of is they will delay your activation by how many
That one
infiltrators
guy's
they
like,
have.
you can't go for 3
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
activations.
And whichever one is the box breaker, probably this guy.
No,
that's
it's
your-
this guy.
Yeah,
With,
that's your comms guy.
Yes, exactly.
Is he the one who makes it so you can't change your EPL, or is he the?
He turns off your rerolls.
Yeah.
So you're a guy with ceaseless and
suddenly no
like
more ceaseless.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if you go in to any fight within 6 inches of that operative and you roll bad,
You're probably toast.
you roll bad. And a good Phobos player will always have the box breaker somewhere where he can't just get shot.
Yeah. Just like a beacon of
Because
blocking.
he'll end up being a priority target.
Exactly. If you have the opportunity
Kill him.
to shoot the box breaker to death
Shoot him.
from outside of 6 inches, you take it. Because 6-inch bubble of no rerolls
Is
and
powerful.
an 8-inch bubble of seek light for every incursor on the board
Yeah, he
Is-
buffs. He buffs.
It's gross.
Yeah.
This guy, and that's how I would recommend assaulting a middle objective.
Okay.
Plant the Vox Breaker somewhere where he's hard to get at.
Right.
Here, knowing you're against an elf team, right? 1 out, 6 up, he can get charged from
Yeah.
there, which can be okay if they roll bad, but dice isn't something you can rely on.
Yeah, of course.
If they go in and roll all 6s, you're just like,
Yeah,
oh,
there goes my body.
turning off rerolls doesn't do anything when they don't need to reroll.
Of course.
So having him somewhere where he's affecting what you're trying to fight for,
Yes.
like sitting him right here, back here where he's safe, but can still, like if turning point 1, you put him right there, and you can move him laterally to adapt to how the battle is going and move his anti-reroll field.
That makes sense.
And then we can proxy for a reaver for your game if that's something you want to do.
Let's use this one that's got blood.
Yeah, he's got the nice knife going, and he's got the carbine.
Actually, before we move on, I can snap off the head of any of those guys to a helmet, like in the future.
I have the models if you want them. I bought a box of Reavers purely just to have some for Phobos,
Right.
and you don't need that many, so I have a few.
Is this like your painting scheme for them?
Yeah. Because they're like blood angels, but some of them are death companies.
Yeah.
I try to do 5 and 5.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah, thank you. I could buy them from you.
The idea would be to, when it's pertinent, probably not right away in a turning point, but when it really depends on the board state. But you find a time to move a guy in, tap the point, turn it on for free. Actually, since you know you're getting out activated, don't even turn it on.
Okay.
Because you can do that on counteracts.
All right. Yeah.
Like if you're running plant beacons, he can jump in there, get to, like if you've staged him here, turning point 1, and like, your opponent's probably got somebody sitting over here. When you're on Volcus and you're staging turn 1, don't put somebody right here. You don't want to be visible over the wall.
Okay.
Especially not if you know your opponent is right there. Like this doesn't matter because it's not 2 inches tall, so it's ignored for visibility.
Right.
But if you're staging up for the middle point, unless you know you really need to get to the other side and be able to,
Don't put people there.
Don't put people there because they can get seen over the wall, means they can get charged.
Right.
If you're back here, I can't see shit.
And you can't charge them.
Right?
All right.
Going over here, but you can go there.
That's how you killed me with your Grath Infusion pistol.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you used his double attack,
You
and
move
then
up.
you popped out and shot the next guy at 3 inches and killed him.
Yeah, if you can see something, you can usually attack it somehow. But even there, move up, your free mission action, plant a beacon. That's a good plant beacon spot because you can still plant one on your side back here.
Okay, yeah.
And you have your spots here.
All right.
If that's your game plan, you have to really plan for it. And I'm saying, as soon as you do that, this guy, 6 inches, you want him to be further up because now you're really far away to benefit from that 6 inch.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
You really gotta be
do that.
On the dot with
smoke grenade yourself and make it so that getting shot at, you're okay. And getting charged, they can't reroll.
Okay.
That would be a good move in, tap the point for free, smoke grenade yourself because you get 4 smoke grenades if you want it.
Yeah.
For free?
No, that's an equipment that gives me more tactical.
Yeah.
Utility grenade.
So instead of 2 smokes, he gets 4?
Yeah. Or like it's still smokes and stuns balance. So you can take 2 smokes, 2 stuns, which if he sees that you've staged in turning point 1, just like this, and he moves the guy right here, it's a tough line to get.
Yeah.
A stun grenade right there.
They're all rolling to save.
Yeah. That can be
Or
3 of
frag
your guys
grenade.
that are now pseudo 2 APL,
Yeah.
which is not
That's
not
nasty.
awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of grenades, I had a question. So the Disciple of Yelindra, she has her Torment grenade, which is a 6-inch EPL 1 grenade. It just
Yeah.
says visual, so she just needs to be able to see them.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter if they're in cover.
like a normal stun grenade.
So she could just, like, I don't know what's a good example. Like, obviously that would be valid. She's up here, she can still see him. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, seeing anything within 6 inches of it,
So
you stun grenade it.
I had someone tell me that they often took reposition as their first, like their
For scouting.
They're scouting, and they just have her run in and throw her torment grenade at a group of people if they look like they're all clumped together.
Yeah,
Like as the very first thing you do.
that's a really good alpha strike because you can, if you can start the game with a pain token, right?
And then she can
And just yeet yourself down the board. Yeah, absolutely.
And they basically said if you poison 2 or more people, if she dies after that, you don't care. Because there's 3 guys who are activating and taking wounds every time they activate.
They're poisoned for the whole rest of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's D3 damage.
Crazy.
That's incredible. Right, and you can go here.
So, did I hear that correctly? There's no length requirement for that specific grenade? As long as
6 inches.
6
Okay.
inches.
It doesn't matter if you're in cover. She
Yeah,
just
yeah.
needs to be able to see you.
So with that strategy, that's your torment grenade threat range.
From
In
my
your
starting
deployment zone.
from my deployment zone.
From yours with your 3-inch reposition.
So she would start here.
Right here. Right?
Then you would give her 3 APL, so she would reposition dash.
Right, start here.
Reposition dash.
Reposition to
Dash.
the 7. Dash.
And then toss.
And then toss a grenade.
So if she saw 3 guys sitting behind here, would you do it right away? Would you be that aggro?
No.
You wouldn't do it?
No.
Do you think it's toxic or just not wise?
It's tough to say. You really have to see the opponent's deployment to determine if that would be worth it.
Would you do it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. But if you've done
I guess
that,
you could do it from over. You could do it from
Right.
over like here.
Let's say you've done that. If you're not here, or if you've put down a heavy barricade or a light barricade, right? If you want to be able to sit on that choice until they've done 2 activations to move here, then sure. But if you've just moved yourself up and you don't have anything to sit behind, if you're just 3 inches from your deployment zone, right? If you're here, now your threat is different. If you want to wait and sit on it, you can go. You want to, because you just get shot, right? And then you get nothing. There's 7. So now your move and dash. It's still really good, but now your threat range is only this, and it's that little bit less.
So like that's the other question. Like, can she that's light cover, but could she still see him if she got close enough?
Oh yeah.
So he's still a valid target even if he's
them
concealed.
within 6 inches. Yeah, just huck it. It'd be an interesting. I like it. I don't know if it's the good play to make, but I like it. If you see that your opponent deploys a Marine right here, and you have your terror torment grenade right there, and you say, okay, scout reposition. If you get first turn 1, poison that Marine.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right play. It'd be really hard to tell. 12 wounds on a D3. Who has a die? I love rolling dice.
You want to die?
Just roll it. One wound. You're down to 11. But
He's poisoned.
you're right.
Yeah, but I'm poisoned.
Every time he activates,
every
he's
time.
on.
And what if first time he activates, that's a 5. He's at 9 wounds.
Yeah.
And you can charge, fight, and kill him. Like that's the danger zone. So you'd consider it. I'd see.
Do you tell your opponent she can do that before you start playing?
Yeah. If you have alpha strikes, funny shenanigans,
Do you think you should disclose it?
Like
Do you guys have
it's
any of the friends?
it's common etiquette when you sit down for a game to go, hey, how well do you know the team that I'm playing?
Okay.
And if they say, I know absolutely nothing about Hand of the Archon, okay, well,
Here's my power token. These are my operatives. This is what they're good at.
yeah, these are certain ploys I have that will catch you off guard if you don't prepare for them. Chain snare being one of them.
I have never taken chain snare.
No?
I always find that I think it's partly because I'm a little gun shy, and it feels like it's one of those things where like
Dude,
it's that you can't get away from me.
Looks pretty cool.
Which is probably good against
you
some
also
people
print that
where
one?
they're like, I'm trying to like if I played Pathfinders, I'm like, you can't get away from me.
Oh, okay.
They're
Yeah.
all 7 wound guys.
Yeah, still looks
Yeah.
pretty good.
I don't want them to be able to shoot me.
Exactly. Yeah, saying don't fall back, which into a shooting heavy Marines team could be really, really good.
Yeah.
Because if you're locked, like you say, locked in combat with her or with this guy or your other guy, say you've double charged or whatever, under any circumstance where you not the box breaker, where you don't want them to be able to shoot at you in recompense. Chain snares isn't bad, but you're right. You'd rather have against Marines. You'd rather have like the wicked blades.
Yeah,
and
the toxic coating. Their Fine Poison's only okay. +1 normal damage on Shard Carbine, Splinter Cannon, Splinter Pistol, Splinter Rifle.
Add 1 to the normal damage stat. What's the damage stat already?
Oh, those are yours?
On a Splinter Rifle, it's like 2-4, so it's only okay.
Change it
Nice.
2-4 on 4
Dude,
dice.
You can't even tell.
Change it to 3-4.
Very good.
That's a
Do you have a
potential
business of your own?
extra 4 damage. If you're 2-4
I guess against these guys it'd be worth it because they're only 12 wounds.
with with lethal 5.
But like if you give it to the Stinger lady, the Yelindra, she's 4-5, so she'd be 5-5 with her gun,
Yeah, exactly.
which is pretty good.
There's some
Like
cases,
she would go. Oh, sorry, she'd go 4-5, but it'd still be good.
and that's with lethal 5 and an extra. You're right. In that specific instance, it's doing a lot for you because then if you get 1 crit, obviously 2 crits and a hit will kill. But if you get, it's changing all the math so that you can more reliably get a kill with different.
I often
die
take a lot
results.
of their fact equipment because their fact equipment's actually pretty good. I might take cracks if I'm fighting Marines because piercing's different.
Yeah. And that's a.
You still have 3-up saves, right?
I have what?
3-up saves?
Yes.
Yeah, like your
Still
typical
do.
Marine.
Yeah.
Same reasoning. Slide out 1.
So you can charge, fight if you get a kill, crack something, move up, crack something, because cracks 4 or 5. If you have access to rerolls or any sort of consistency, crack grenades are really, really good. Because 2 hits and a crit, you can only save 2 dice. If you get 3 hits and a crit, God forbid, 2 crits, 2 hits, you have to save a lot.
Yes.
You have to save 2 crits to be able to live. So let's see what happens. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So roll to see who picks what side,
Yes.
and we'll do a crit up.
2. 3.
Okay.
Where would you like to deploy?
I'll pick that.
Now here's an interesting
I
thing.
think these are the deployment zones.
Just because you won
Yes.
doesn't mean you have to pick.
Okay.
So look at the map.
Right.
Do you care what side you're on?
I would say so. Yes.
Yeah. What side do you want, and why?
Well, I think I would do good here. God, I don't know anymore.
I made you second guess.
When you talk to
It's
me
okay.
about the sniper and everything, I was
I don't think it's a trick question. I think he's just
yeah, I know.
letting you think through the process.
Yeah. Gosh.
Because I'll say there's a lot of matchups and maps where I'm going into it. Like if I'm playing Angels of Death or I'm playing my Void Dancers, and I go, I know what tack up I want because I know their team and I know the map. And I know what primary I want to go for, and based on the crit op, right? Obviously,
Yes.
you know what your game plan is,
You already picked the crit up?
and you can.
We're still doing transmission?
We can pick a different word.
Oh.
Do you mind grabbing those?
Yes. Sure.
Why don't we
We'll
just?
do.
Oh, are you gonna choose one, or are we just?
I'm gonna choose one. Yeah,
Yes.
All right.
one that's not objectively skewed to one team or the other. Yeah, loot is way better for you as Hand of the Archon.
To be fair, I didn't know that. I was just picking one I thought was relatively straightforward.
For an elite team, having to make sure you're on an objective every turning point to spend an action to get a victory point is like, there go all.
Way more constricted, right?
Yeah, there's 6 of my actions through the whole game tied up just in that. Secure is way better for. Well, secure is actually really good for both.
Nice guy.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a bit of a dice goblin, so I buy dice for specific teams.
I can relate.
Yeah, I tried to do that. I got this for my night lords.
Oh, that's cool. Speaking of which, hold on.
Let's do this.
I didn't know if you like
Classic
Ultramarines,
number
but
1.
if you like Ultramarines, I find the bigger dice are good for rolling, and the little dice are good for counters.
Where did you get these?
Those are from Timu, but if you want them, you can have them.
Really? Well,
Of course. Sorry.
I'd rather just save them for an Ultramarines player, to be honest.
There's no Ultramarine team, it's just how you paint them.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
true.
Okay.
I haven't seen somebody who played Space Marines and actually painted them as Ultramarines. I've never met
No,
one.
my brother's painting Angels of Death, and he's painting them like raptors, so they're all like green. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your mission is secure.
Oh wow.
Sorry.
He's got powers. Like a grapple. Okay,
So
secure.
you tap an objective to secure it once, and until your opponent comes and taps it, it's yours, and you're scoring points for it.
That seems pretty straightforward.
It's pretty effective for both of you.
I usually lay out my cards just so I can.
Yeah, I try to do that too.
Yeah.
But I always end up drowning myself in cards.
So the nice thing, the place I usually play Torchlight. The nice part about Torchlight is the tables are massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
The app is really helpful.
Oh yes.
I use it primarily.
Which one? The actual official app, right?
Kill team.
I know there's another one. KT cards.
KT cards, KT battle kit. There's quite a few.
I haven't used them though.
So knowing secure.
Right.
What's your idea for what tac op you'd want to go for? Because you're infiltrate recon, right?
Yes.
Infiltrate. You don't want. You don't want infiltrate.
No one ever wants infiltrate.
No.
Is there any circumstance where I would go for infiltrate?
Nope.
As Phobos against other elite teams.
Yeah, let's say for elite team.
Yeah. Into Plague Marines.
Okay.
I would consider it. Because you could position somebody, say surveillance. You could position somebody to be just over the edge.
Okay.
Like say you repositioned turn point in scouting. You did reposition, and you've got a Reaver because they have the grab shield. They can climb. They can go at the end of turning point 1. They can be here.
Okay.
And if you win initiative, you can surveil and then run away.
I see.
Because if you're shooting them, they're reducing damage they're taking. If you're fighting them, you're hitting on one worse. They're like, unless you're dancing around them for plant beacons, which they're going to spread themselves out to make it hard for you to do.
I see.
They're probably more than likely on a map like this going to go for take ground.
Okay. Yeah.
And just sit in here.
Right.
And score 2 points every turn.
Okay.
They'll put a ladder. They'll put a ladder right there. And just pile in there.
Okay. Cool. Well, I think that I'm going to go for plant beacons.
Yeah.
Play it safe.
Yeah. Because you can see your avenues, right? You have this line.
Yes.
Along which you can start planting beacons. Early in a turn, if you have to, you can have a guy secure, plant, and sit. Or secure, plant, track target. And then you can save it for your later activations. See what your opponent has done and where their threats are still active.
Yeah.
And go and find something Remember, 2 inches or more from the middle line
Yes, yes.
into
To
their
not screw
territory.
myself over.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Because as soon as you say, "Oh, I have no more options. I didn't plan to give myself more options," and you're forced to plant on that center line, you lose so much from it.
Right. Okay.
And you can plant. Remember, you can plant up here.
Okay.
You can't plant under, but you can plant up there.
All right.
What are you thinking?
Well, we talked about it, so I guess we'll try confirm kill.
Okay, perfect. I like it. That'll be fun.
I kind of know plant beacons, but they haven't worked very well for me, so we'll try that.
Knowing what your game plan is. You mentioned you want to learn more to fight for the center, so we can focus on fighting for the center, keeping this secured, and positioning so that you have plant beacons.
Technically, we wouldn't know this until
No, you wouldn't. But
until it happens.
The reason why I thought that was significant to bring up first is because you're still in the stage of choosing what side of the board.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
So
Does come into play.
yeah, exactly. So what you have the initiative.
Yeah.
What is your game plan?
Okay.
Think of the operatives you have and where they can be.
All right.
And how you would stage and where you're going to score your points in the first few stages of the game. We'll focus on the first few stages of the game. Don't think turn point 3, turn point 4.
All right. Well, let's start off with who I want to take.
Right.
So I'll take my Incursor Sergeant, Marksman, Box Breaker.
Yeah.
Helix, probably.
The Helix Adept.
Oh, sorry, not Helix Adept. Sorry,
Comsman. Yes.
I won't take the Helix, to be honest.
No.
I feel like it's make or break when they charge and kill me.
Yeah, not incredible.
Yeah. And aside from these, I still got 2 choices. What's your opinion when it comes with
You've taken
and those units?
Incursor Sergeant?
Yeah.
Okay. Comms and Box Breaker Marksman?
Yeah.
I'll give you like a brief detail.
If you're going plant beacons,
Yes.
definitely a Reaver.
Okay.
Because he's your most reliable source of moving in and planting a beacon deep in enemy territory.
Okay.
Because he plants for free.
Right.
You have 3 APL, so you can move, dash, plant, and still smoke grenade yourself.
Okay. Yes.
Or move, dash, plant, shoot.
Right.
Or you have lots of options. You can position him somewhere where you can charge, secure the opponent's objective, plant, and then shoot something else.
Yes.
Like
Okay.
charge,
Sorry,
fight, plant.
I lost track of the sequence.
If he's here,
Yes.
say he's got somebody here, and he's already tapped that to secure it. You charge, fight, secure, plant a beacon.
Okay.
And that's kill op points, primary points, secondary points.
That's an amazing. That 3 points in one activation is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's then that's kind of the name of the game. You're looking at all these different threads you can pull to get you victory points.
Right.
Every single action, the end goal is how does this action support me getting a victory point?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I going that even if this action itself doesn't score me something, how is this operative going to do an action later that scores me something? That's why that guy is here. Probably as your last activation, seeing what your opponent is doing. If your first move, turning point 1, is to go here, or from here up to here, and you have no idea what your opponent is putting right here, or whether you have consistent access to getting first turn on the next turning point, it's not safe.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. So I got 5 out of 6.
Yes, you definitely want a Reaver.
Yes. This guy's my veteran. This guy's the Saboteur. This is the Mind Layer.
So
and Helix and
let's
another Warrior.
Let's look at your operatives.
Sure.
So Phobos. Because you want as much access to 8 damage as possible. So
I was thinking the veteran that can equip its rifle with different
If
profiles.
you take lethal 5 and rending,
Uh-huh.
you're
It would be
saving
like a
4.
killing machine.
Or the things that make the team.
Because you can give him.
If they didn't have
Yeah,
Dora,
he
they
shows
would be
up
like
there.
C tier. If they didn't have him, they'd be like.
He can do balance, lethal 5+, piercing crits, rending, saturate.
Never take that out.
Oh, not
He's also
not
fast.
the
Late
custom
game,
carbine.
You need someone to go run onto a point. He's a 7-inch move guy.
Lethal 5 and piercing crits 1.
Last activation score that last one you need to win.
It's a good combo.
Drops down from
'Cause
runs over to an objective. And
you have a really good chance of getting a crit. If you know you're shooting, you're balanced. It's more reliable for 7 wounds. But your piercing,
He's amazing.
it's
He's amazing spot. On a map like this where
it's you have a lot of good options.
Yeah.
I would probably do the lethal 5 and rending.
Okay.
Because then you have a lot. You may not have the piercing, but you have really, really good access to just hitting 8 wounds, and you have that ploy that lets you push through an extra D3.
Yes,
Yeah, the critical shot. So if you're shooting at his operative that if you're shooting at his operative that has 9 wounds, or if he makes one more save than you're
Thank you.
expecting,
Yeah, I just go for that.
yeah.
Cool. All right.
You can have it so that 1 crit and 1 hit is a kill.
Okay.
Two crits going through is a kill, but even a crit and a hit is like, okay, I spend 1 CP and you die anyway.
Dope. Okay, cool.
And you know that he's better at fighting than you are.
Yes.
I am.
Yeah.
Really?
For the
Yeah.
most part, yes.
Yeah. Except for his 1 reaver.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and just so you know, this guy
Combat-
doesn't have the helmet, but you can spot him with the knife and the blood. That's my reaver.
Yeah. And you're differentiated from the veteran.
Yeah, the veteran's got the purity seal. He's got a X in his backpack.
Big,
Got a
the
red
bigger X.
tank.
We'll get into equipment soon.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and you know where you, so I guess what walls do you want to have to climb? How many walls do you want to be in your way?
Yeah.
Right? This is something you have to stage behind and climb over.
So
Whereas
like,
this is less.
I think everything's heavy except for that's light, that's
These two.
light,
Yeah.
and that's just
light.
ignoring. And everything else is heavy, I believe.
This is light.
Okay.
So it's light, light,
Yeah.
and everything else
Everything
is heavy.
else.
Basically, if it has girders sticking out of it, it's like light, and then if it's walls, it's heavy.
Yeah.
And I think the top here is light.
Heavy.
Heavy?
Yeah, it's only on the tops of these that's
There's
light.
smaller ones that are
Yeah.
light. Okay. If you can
I'd say
see someone through a
personally-
window, is that visual?
Yep.
So if I see someone through there, I can whip a torment grenade at them through the window.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
If you're
But you have to be on the same level.
not within 6. No, you don't have to be within the same level.
So if I'm
No,
down
if
here,
you're within 6 inches and you can see
you
them,
just go. Huh!
just huck it. Yeah, absolutely. I would say for this map, you can execute your plan regardless of what side you're on.
Okay, that's dope. So in those cases, then would I pick what screws him up the most?
Good point, actually. Yeah.
Which side do you think would disadvantage me?
Honestly,
It doesn't really.
I would say you would do best here because, like, you can operate inside of buildings where you got melee. That's what I'm going for right now.
Yeah.
So I would say giving you this side would be
Having that safe stronghold. It's interesting because it's that little bit out. So being able to stage with the 7-inch movement, now you can move 6 inches. A move, and a dash just shy of this. Where did I put it? Perfect, thank you. Gets him to your home objective.
Right. Yes.
So since he's out activating you, he can wait until the end of a turning point. And he's got 2 guys left. You get 1 counteract. He'll move in, injure a guy.
Yeah.
Move in, kill it, and then take your point from him.
Okay. All right, then I think I'll stick with this side so that
Okay.
we can scramble on that one.
And that's an interesting thing to think
What
about.
are the sides we're
Sometime-
deploying on? Is it back here? Here or is it on these sides?
Yeah, it's within 6 inches of either
So we're
side.
deploying this way.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So you can either think like that. That was really smart, actually. I like that.
So if you deploy from here,
Or you can just give your opponent, because you're also thinking about scouting.
Yes,
Like
of course.
you know, you're probably gonna take
Reposition.
reposition or equipment.
Yeah.
So, and you also know about his alpha strike thing.
Yes.
So you know the odds of him playing reposition
Very, very
are pretty
high.
high. Ploy is very rare. So reposition and equipment. So if you're not sure if you're gonna win scouting, you can give them the choice of which side,
Okay.
so that when you tie on the scouting,
Yeah.
you still get to choose who goes on
Okay. Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Huh. Hadn't thought about it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
That's what I do in situations where for the map and matchup, I don't really care what side I'm on, but I know the odds of us both taking equipment
Yeah.
are really high. I'll give the opponent the choice, because then, oh, we both play equipment. Okay, you go first.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
odds are, unless they have a silly alpha strike like that, there's not much you're worried about.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Okay, so you pick that side.
Yes.
you're this side.
Move your. Yeah,
Okay.
he's picked the side.
Sure. Yeah. So
Uh,
when he deploys, can he actually start in the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is 3 inches in?
No, he can start right within the deployment zone.
Okay, so it's 6
So it's
inches.
this line.
Right.
It's hard to see over here.
But you can't start on top of Vantage.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
I think so. Yeah, here, because it's right on the edge, right? If you're within 6 inches and you can balance a model,
You
right
can start
here,
on Vantage.
absolutely, you can start there. It's not recommended
Why?
because you can
So if I end up going first, I'm going to just shoot him. Like,
jump up
turn
there,
1,
shoot him with your mega gun. Yeah,
and then just blow him off his feet. And
Yeah.
That's that.
it'd be an obscured shot, but
it's still 6 damage. On
yeah,
this.
exactly. Yeah, it's damage he doesn't want to take for free. But
So you probably
an
wouldn't
option.
start on Vantage, generally speaking.
You would do it if you intend to play reposition and just jump up here.
Like if you want to get a sniper, or like your Death Jester, you want to get him that stuff behind.
Yeah, exactly. But for the terms of Void Dancers specifically, wouldn't really bother because we climb for 2 inches
For one,
anyway.
yeah, 2 inch, you can just go whoop
And you
to the
just
top
you
of the
just
building.
go. I go up there anyway. I don't need
If you
to
have
play
like
reposition.
the
The
guy has
reposition
concealed shot on the first thing, then you can put him up there because you don't care because he has concealed shot on his first.
Yeah.
Which lots of snipers do.
Death Jester doesn't have concealed shot, but he does have heavy reposition.
Which is better than because this guy's reposition or he's dash.
Heavy dash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's slow.
So
If he
putting
wants
him,
to fire.
starting him up here, not a bad idea.
Okay.
So that you have that threat already there. But keeping in mind, as soon as your opponent gets up here,
Your target.
that's a valid shot. And your opponent ignores obscuring.
So even taking smokes is not one.
He ignores obscuring. He does not ignore the minus piercing rule from
Okay.
a smoke grenade.
Do you have piercing on your team?
Yes. Actually, I have a.
I usually ask my opponent if they
I
have
have
any
a-
piercing
Yeah,
on their team.
that's a really good starting question to ask.
I have an equipment that most definitely I take. Once per turning point, when I'm shooting you, I can decide if my weapon has piercing.
Oh, special rounds type of thing.
Yeah, special issue ammunition.
Yeah.
So his infiltrators have lethal 5. His incursors have saturate, so you don't get cover saves.
Okay.
And his reavers have piercing 1.
Lovely.
Exactly.
So he'll have piercing up to 4 times a turn.
Which is enough.
And you're going confirm kill.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that if you get into a situation where you want to charge, fight, and have that confirm kill token on you, you want to be able to throw a smoke at your feet so that if he wants to kick you off that confirm kill token, he has to come and charge you or
Right.
move a guy to contest it.
So if I'm playing confirm kill, I'm basically taking smoke grenades as an equipment option.
It would be wise, I think. Thinking about your other faction equipment as well.
Or I could take equip and then make sure I have smokes and take all my faction equipment.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're robbing yourself of that alpha strike, which you don't know if you really want to do until you've seen deployment anyway.
Right. I'm looking for clusters of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would take what you value more in this matchup, being the smoke grenades, and then because you choose 4 equipment now, and then deployment happens, and then if you see that he's deployed a guy right here, and doesn't have a lot, like if he's deployed pretty balanced, he's on that side, so it'd be, if you see that he's deployed a guy here, and you've got your grenade girl right here, you can zoom in.
But I feel like because they're an elite team and they only have 6 operatives, the alpha strike thing is okay, but I think probably better against a horde team because there's probably more chance of a cluster of people.
Yeah, hitting a cluster of people and having it so that they're a wound away from being injured is crazy.
So probably against an elite team, I'm probably going to play equip rather than
hitting 3 7-wound operatives with that right off the
is
hop.
devastating.
Yeah, absolutely. Hitting 1 Marine, it can make a difference, but he has a lot of ways to play around that and make it so that it's not a big
deal. And you have a lot of wounds. And like he just plainly has a lot of wounds.
Yeah, and then you're losing an operative right off the board, and you're playing 6 versus 8. Okay, so equipment.
So I was thinking I'll just take the 4 that are faction equipment.
Okay.
Purity seals, additional
Purity
utilities.
seals is an auto take.
Yeah, definitely. Additional utilities. I think I will go with the 4 smokes.
Okay.
Play very sneaky. The combat blaze, I feel like. Well, I don't know. If he's that oppressive when it comes to melee, should I just give up on melee and not take it?
There's only 1 brutal operative, unless he takes brutal on his Arcsiberite as well, which you also, in operative selection, you have to choose what you're. That's something we can talk about in a moment.
No, it's only the Crimson Duelist is brutal.
Lethal 3-up is cool. Yeah.
Oh, the Sting Needler? Yeah, but it only does 0 damage.
Yeah.
It just stuns.
I would still take it, to be honest, because it greatly increases your chances, even on 3-4, of having it so that with your Vox Breaker there turning off rerolls, he charges you, doesn't roll the best, can't reroll, and you get a decent roll. Like
one of the things
dice.
I do with my pain tokens is now useless. Like
exactly. Like you get free reroll.
Nope.
Can't anymore.
Okay, cool.
If you're roll 5 dice. Here, sorry, I'm gonna borrow your dice.
Yeah.
Nice.
2 crits.
That's a dead elf.
That's a dead elf.
That's a dead elf.
That guy's smeared. He's red.
If you're full health, it doesn't matter what he rolled.
Okay.
He kills you in 3. If he's not parrying you out and making it so that it's which he can afford to do on the 1 operative, but I wouldn't think about it.
I can tell you now that's a dead elf.
And it's giving you options for your lethal assaults.
True.
You only have 1 Reaver, but it's making your team more consistent.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll
and
take
like
that
what else would you put?
Yeah, that too. I was thinking like a ladder. But
maybe.
I know that I got the Reaver that can essentially zip around.
The nice part about your team and ladders though is because you're so fast. Ladders are like they're good, but you're not slow, right?
Okay,
like you can just whoop up a.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
You can usually get pretty much anywhere that you really
Without worrying
Like
about.
if you have 7 movements, ladders can be handy. But if you're like Plague Marines that have 5 movement, those ladders that economy is really useful for getting your Plague Marine up somewhere.
A Plague Marine needs a ladder to be there.
Yeah.
To be able to play for this.
You're just climbing up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, they have to move around and get to that door.
Yeah.
And they're having a bad day.
All right. So then, the combat blades and the special issue ammunition.
4 factions.
Yeah,
back
the
off.
4 faction.
Good choice. And you're doing.
I will do.
Write it down. Make note of it somewhere.
Yes.
I've got this. I use it for games.
Okay.
Even though I'm using the app and whatnot to track things, if I don't write something down, I write down when I use ploys, when I use equipment. Exactly. Perfect. Oh,
Everything for me is branded because I'm OCD.
because you'll spend the command point and do the thing, and then later on in the turning point you'll come back and go, oh, did I use that ploy yet? Did I use that already? Did I use that rule? Did I do this?
Okay.
And then if you have it written down, you go, oh, yes, I've already used it.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
There's no, it limits a lot of the potential confusion.
Yeah.
Especially being a void dancer player. There's a lot of moving parts sometimes, and if you don't write down what you've done and when, and in what turning point, then it becomes, when there's a question and it's your rule, it's on you. And if you're in a turning point and you go, I don't remember if I played this and it would take effect, it would be important now, but I don't remember if I used my rule.
Yeah, it's on you.
And then you can't. A TO is going to come over and say, "That was your job to remember your rule." Like,
come on, man.
Yeah.
How do we
Sounds
not
like you don't
know
get it.
you're not making stuff up?
Exactly.
So
And
I'm
you would
going to
lose out
take
on that.
Wicked Blades, which adds +1 to the attack stat of any of my Hand of the Archon operators who are using Array of Blades, which is pretty much
Most
everyone.
of them. Yeah.
So instead of 4 attacks or 3 attacks, they have either 4 or 5 attacks with their Wicked Blades.
Awesome.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah, it makes your team very consistent. So even your shooting operatives can be, even his normal shooting operatives are now scary in melee to you.
Okay.
Because normally they're only 3 attacks, now they're 4.
Now they got 4. All right.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take the...
Watch out for this guy.
Is that a melta?
Yeah,
sort of.
It's a piercing 2 gun that has full range.
Oh boy.
I'm
That
going
one
to take
too.
the...
Watch out for that. Also,
I'm going to
piercing
take the
2.
Refined Poison... no, not that one. I'm going to take the...
Yeah, it's cool because soon I will also get Hand of the Archon. So everything you're teaching him, I'm also internalized.
Good.
So that
Good. That's
I
why.
can bring it.
Sometimes I like taking at least 1 stun grenade because you never know when you're gonna have that option to just hit
Okay, yeah.
two, or even if you use it on 1 really important operative and make it so now they're down to just 1 APL, it can be huge.
Okay.
But into 2 full range piercing 2 guns, having a lot of smoke is really nice because now they're only piercing 1.
Yes. Okay.
I'll take Toxic Coating, which is giving my melee weapons twice per turn point lethal 5s.
Heck yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Really, really good.
So 2 buffs to your melee, essentially.
Trying to decide if I want to do the Refined Poison. That's the one that's normal damage of Splinter Cannon, Splinter Pistol, Splinter Rifles, or Stinger Pistol.
Okay, so let's look at that's your Splinter Rifles.
Yeah. So
Stinger
that's the
Pistol?
Agent.
No.
So it's the Excelicant, the
Okay.
Crimson Duelist, the Disciple, the Agent, and technically the Archecybrite might have a Splinter Pistol.
So what have
too.
you chosen for this guy?
Usually I go with the Splinter Pistol and the Venom Blade because I give the 2 Darklight weapons to the gunners.
And you've got the lethal 4.
Yeah. Sometimes
You're already able to give your weapons
lethal 5.
lethal 5.
Yeah.
And you've buffed your array of blades.
Yeah.
Oh, all of his guns. Oh, okay.
So
he's got good
yeah.
levels.
So it would allow him to do 3/4
Mm-hmm.
and be range 8 lethal 5 up. And I could also put on the Shard Carbine. This guy's would go to 3/2.
Yeah. 3/2, Dev 2, lethal 5.
Yeah.
And having the lethals on his melee weapon means you can use that rule on other people more. I like.
Some people like the Venom Blade. Some people like the Power Weapon. I happen to equip him with the Venom Blade because I like the low crit threshold at 4. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it changes what they can potentially parry with. There's part of me that looks at lethal 5 up 4/6 and goes,
He's gonna kill something
That's-
with 2 crits.
you have two things in this whole game that potentially kill a Marine in 2 hits from full health, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't, and again, you kind of have to play test it. You already have lethal 5. You can give yourself not more attacks. You can give yourself more damage on your
So it'll be 5/5,
pistol.
which isn't terrible.
Um,
But it means you'd have to
5/5
crit summon 3 times.
Not on. You can't give this on the.
No,
melee.
no. Oh,
Only
sorry,
in
that's his
shooting.
pistol. Yeah.
It's your. I don't think you can go wrong. I don't think you can go wrong. One is more consistent, which is really good against Marines. One is potentially instant kill, which is really good against Marines.
Okay. So I will take my 3 factions: the refined, the wicked blades, the toxic coating, and then for my last equipment piece, I will be predictable and take crack grenades.
All right.
As your
Fantastic.
Marines.
Yeah, absolutely. Like to charge, use Venom Blade,
Yeah.
get an extra APL, crack grenade.
Yeah.
Insane. Actually, I would add Vivek. Sorry, I'm totally interrupting. Into 12 wound operative Marines. 4/6 with lethal 5 or 4/5 lethal 4.
4/6 all day.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
That was my thought too.
Like, problem with this is it's 3 dice no matter what. This lets you threaten 2 dice.
Yeah.
Like even if you roll all crits with this, it's no different than if you rolled all normals, except it is a looter.
Yeah.
So you
So-
think the power weapon's better?
I do.
Power
Yeah.
because it hits both breakpoints. You have 3 dice on the low end, 2 dice on the high end, whereas the other weapon is 3 dice no matter what.
And that's the other reason why I was
But I'm
pushing.
not gonna get dinged because that's actually the model with the
No,
Venom Blade.
we'll
No,
never get,
no.
never get dinged.
Absolutely
If
not.
he's holding a sword, nobody cares which sword you pick, as long as you.
So I'm gonna say, yeah, that's a power weapon.
Yeah, you should be like power weapon 4/6
Absolutely.
lethal 5,000.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
No one in the world.
We will go power blade then.
And that's the other reason why I got hung up on the refined poison earlier.
Yeah.
Because having that add 1 to normal damage can feel kind of underwhelming when you read it in text.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to resolving dice,
But I guess.
his
But if he
breakpoints
does 2
are
normals and 1
lower.
crit, that's a dead Marine.
It's a dead Marine. Yeah, exactly. And the more you can make it reliable for on more.
So
different
basically, the
dice.
argument is the power weapon's more reliable. It's more consistent damage.
Yeah, yeah. And because, like you said, you're hitting both breakpoints, 3 dice or 2.
All right.
Okay.
In that case, then the dark light
Now-
weapons. I can choose 2 dark light weapons. That'll be the dark lance because it's just fun.
It's the Dark Lane.
The only problem with him is he's slow, and then the gunner, as he already pointed out, has the blaster, which is 4 attacks, 3s, 4/5 with piercing 2, which is pretty nasty.
Awesome. Watch out for all of his guns because they kill you,
No.
and the box breaker turns off a lot of your gameplay.
I have a bunch of stuff that happens during operative selection I'm supposed to do.
Yep.
Like, I'm supposed to choose a drug with this guy. First of all, the operatives, I take all the specialists and 1 agent, and that's pretty standard. You can drop a guy and take 2 agents, which there are times where you can do that, but I'm not going to do that this time.
Into teams like Goremongers, where regardless.
Shooting is kind of
Yeah,
You might take
Like-
2 agents just to get free pain tokens.
exactly.
Because this guy's ability is when someone gets a pain token, he doesn't have one, he gets one.
it. Yeah.
So against Goremongers, I might drop the heavy gunner and take 2 agents, so they're constantly just getting buffed with an extra
Exactly.
APL.
We were on the same page.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
But against Marines, I'm going to take the guy with the piercing.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
So he's going to take Adrenalite because every strategic gambit he passes out a pain token. The other ones only do he can make it so he ignores movement, or this is a subtract 1 for inflicted damage. They're garbage. Free pain tokens is better.
You want to put free pain tokens on every single one of your operatives.
Yeah. So I've never seen anyone play this team on any streaming, anything, anywhere who's not taken Adrenalite.
Okay.
So like a free pain token every strategic gambit's better than anything else.
On whoever you want.
Yeah.
That is really good.
He can also heal people for an APL.
Yeah.
He's a medic essentially. He
Administer
can do
drug
2d6
and give out a new.
and 2d6 or 2d3 wounds.
Interesting.
So
I'll
he's a
do
great
some.
unit.
I'll look into it a bit more. When I first read that, my first thought was give everybody reduce incoming damage,
Yeah.
and then have him in a position where you can choose. By turn point 2, you can have 2 people with the free drug.
He can change someone's drug with that action on a unit. But the thing I like about the free pain token is it means that whenever he's wing wonging with his free token, he
Pop
can
it
just
on somebody and he gets it.
and then I know I can blow it, and if this guy's alive next turn, he's just going to get another one.
Yeah.
So I'm always like just using his pain token like it was going out of style.
I love putting the idea of putting Painbringer on the flare.
I don't think it would stack with her ability.
Why not?
I guess it would.
Right?
Oh yeah, because it's to roll a d6 and subtract. So I guess it would
Yeah.
stack.
Whenever it inflicts it, and this is
Normal crit
just
by 3 or more.
changes their yeah.
So I guess it would.
So something that inflicts 5 potentially only hits for 3.
Yeah.
So making his crits worse than his normals in some cases.
The other thing is when I select this guy, he gets Omen. This is a weird one because I'm never quite sure what to do. He chooses either an enemy operative, and he puts Omen on them. They have to reroll their 6s, or he chooses a friendly operative and they get to reroll their 1s.
Interesting.
So you can either nerf someone or buff one of your guys.
Nerf him.
Why?
He's turning off your rerolls.
Oh, okay.
When you want them most, he is taking them away.
So you wouldn't buff like the Darklance, so he rolls his 1s?
You can do that too. Yeah, because you know he's not going to be within 6 of that box breaker. That's a good choice. And it means you don't have to spend command points to reroll misses.
Yeah.
But if you roll 2s, but that's a really good consistency play. Reroll all 1s.
Yeah.
Any 1s.
Yeah.
That is pretty good. I like that.
That's
On that guy or the gunner.
Yeah. So like you can stick the birdie. I like the gunner because she's mobile. Like she doesn't have any of the dashing nonsense.
Yeah.
So you can do that, and she rerolls her 1s.
Yeah. And now 4 on 3s, 4 5, rerolling any 1s. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's everything.
There's a universe where you choose his Reaver to reroll all of his 6s, just so that he doesn't get natural crits against you, but he has access to a lot of lethal 5, so
Right.
smart. And giving you putting it on somebody who hopefully can fight not near the box breaker. Suddenly, someone who has ceaseless also has reroll 1s.
Yeah.
So if you're hitting on 3s and you roll on 5 dice, you roll 2 1s and 2 2s, you get full reroll essentially.
I wish I had ceaseless, but I don't.
Yeah.
Well, she has it.
Yeah. One guy. Girl.
Unfortunately, they nerfed the power of pain. It used to be ceaseless.
Oh, okay.
Now it's just it's a 1 die reroll. It used to be just ceaseless for attack or defense. It was really good.
I'm glad they nerfed it.
I'm not. It was really good. You roll like 3 2s and you're like,
You deploy first.
Yes. All right. So I'm thinking marksman on a vantage point in this second floor. Got my 6 inches here. Yeah.
I got you. Oh yeah, put it there. It's this line if you can see.
Oh, okay.
So you're good there.
Yeah. So I think I'll start from there, and then
Now you know that unless you deploy reposition, he can deploy up here and just shoot you.
yes.
Okay.
All right. And I would probably do. So my thought right now was, do I want the box breaker to immediately move into a beacon point in the midfield, or do I want him to still be open?
yeah, use your washroom.
I'll rephrase my question. Do I always
Afterwards,
want him near the middle of the field to kind of help out whoever is gonna take the middle, or do I want him open to potentially other parts of the kill
You
zone?
you can have both.
Okay.
If you have him, like you said, I wouldn't deploy him now
Yeah.
because then he can kind of deploy
Right.
around it. But if you put him here or under here, you can have him be here. So he's doing that, like you said, for the middle. He's helping you take that.
Yes.
And he can move up. He can either move in or move up and help here
Okay.
and still in the middle. Or if he ends up bum rushing your home objective, he can sidestep over, right, and still use
does
the
the
feet. You can be in cover. Boom. Now, turning point 2. You've moved over. He's moved up a bunch of guys to attack your point. Now you have that, and now your Reaver can come in.
Okay.
Or somebody can shoot, and then he can't reroll defense dice either.
Right.
So,
All right. Okay.
Having him here, ready to. Sorry, I keep using Jeff's tokens. Having him here, ready to plant a beacon and move wherever you need him to be.
Would be ideal.
Fantastic.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah.
Because then your Reaver is wherever you need him to be to bum rush forward and plant one.
All right. I think I would like to keep my. Sorry, this is a Reaver. I'm thinking the veteran is gonna shoot and kill a lot. I want him kind of in this open field.
Yeah, or he's got a nice.
Yes, exactly. So I'll probably keep him.
He's an infiltrator.
Yes, he's an infiltrator. So yeah, those will be my first 2 guys.
Now you put down 3.
My only reasoning for starting with the
Yeah.
flail is to make that fight a little more meaningful. Because if you can get him down to exactly 1, carry him out, get him down to 1, you're in such a great spot. Because if he can't shoot you with a sniper, he can't activate that guy because he dies. And then you can bring like your wizard up to heal him. You can do a bunch of other stuff to help support that guy. You have options. Or if you just kill him in the fight, you can throw stun grenades.
I would deploy it so that he can see out the window.
Oh, okay.
And now he's not too far because here, if the idea with this guy is to have a good shooting gallery here, put him where you can see the whole shooting gallery.
While still under cover.
Here is okay,
right?
Because you have this.
Yeah.
But it's still really easy to put operatives in positions where they'll be obscured.
Yes.
So if you have him here, it's easier for them to be obscured. But if you're shooting twice, with
the lethal buzz,
obscurity takes all that away. That's why I'm
yes.
second guessing.
Yes.
But making it so that he can do that, I would put him here, because then he can climb and still get.
Scott's tattoo.
Yeah,
Nice.
2 of them.
Oh, sweet.
Because you can still climb and move forward for 5 and get to your home objective and secure it.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Does this make sense?
I think so. What have you got here?
The
Your grenade
disciple,
girl?
in case he starts moving up this way.
Yeah. As soon as he puts somebody here,
So whenever you're
you have to get beyond this. Let me look at this map.
But she might be one of the first people I drop a pain tip on, so they put her like right on the corner.
This is too far back, actually. This is here.
poison or no poison, you're engaged. The big ones are always in melee.
So yeah, if he has somebody butted right up against this.
And the icon bearer always doesn't matter. Within 2 engagement, always. So hit on 4.
2 over. This is another thing you usually want to do at the start of a match when you sit down at a table. Look at the map, look at the key, make sure everything looks okay.
Now, you look at this and
Because a lot of times things get bumped around in a match.
Would you put your gunners up high like that at the beginning?
And you think about rerolls.
Or is it telegraphing too much? Or where else would you put them at that point?
You could carry
This one I like.
So when
Yeah.
you're fighting, it
That
is
one you don't?
I would put it here.
Her?
Like you could reroll
Yeah.
1,
Here?
you could see it,
Yeah.
you could decide to
Why?
roll 1.
You have this shooting
Oh,
gallery,
so
right?
right.
If you're here, your shooting gallery doesn't involve this
And this
space.
is still heavy cover.
It's only light.
Oh, okay.
So when you're deploying up here, as soon as he's up here, he can shoot you.
Okay.
But
he has severe. You could think about popping to.
he's shooting you.
He also does that
You're
with severe reroll,
retaining better dice.
depending
He
on
has
what
to
you
expend
do, you might
resources to
reroll
give himself
too
piercing.
many hits.
Oops. And if he does that, he's unengaged, and then you have one of these that shoots right
Okay,
back
so
at him.
you would control these 2 lanes with 2 gunners.
I don't hate it at all. I
Okay.
kind of like it.
Nice.
It's gutsy. I don't think you need to do it with that one.
Oh, you think
You
I should?
can have that be a threat without having it start there.
Okay, you just put it down here.
This one needs to have heavy dash, right?
Yeah, so he needs to be somewhere already ready to go.
Exactly. Make sure he's got really good. And this is a little more thematic, but if anything, just making sure you're aware of where your head is.
So you would put her
Because
around the corner to control the lane.
Shooting at something only matters if your head can see that model.
Right.
And if you're like this, like he was,
But if I want to control
luckily
this lane,
he's pretty tall, but
if you want to control this lane, you could pop her down here though, so she could pop out and fire if needed to.
yeah, even like this.
Yeah.
So that you don't.
But isn't she a target now?
No, not if you're on conceal.
Yeah.
So no one's like, I can see your gun, I'm gonna shoot you.
No,
Well,
because
if
you're
you're
on
in
conceal behind heavy cover.
You can be shot.
Right.
So you've already got this as your whole shooting
Okay.
gallery.
So
If
like
he doesn't move this,
the idea is she's actually like ducked down behind the wall,
yeah,
waiting
you're
for
on
him.
conceal right
Yeah.
now. You're tucked behind the wall, and if that operative doesn't move top of turn 1, you can jump up
Right.
because you
7 movement,
you don't
she's
have
gonna-
heavy. But if you
Oh,
don't
so
need
there's no point to put her up high because she doesn't need to reposition. She can still fire and reposition.
Yeah, exactly. So you're getting the best of both worlds if you do that.
Yeah,
Right.
safety and if so need, you can.
Yeah.
Because she's more mobile than the
If you
heavy
need to,
gunner.
you can jump up there, but see a universe where he pushes up aggressively.
She pops
and
out and
you
starts
need
firing.
Yeah, you say pain token, move in, move dash, shoot, do whatever you got to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
And she's
I
sort
like
of
that because it's both bait, but also if he takes the bait and doesn't kill it, it's gonna hurt a lot on the way back. It's risky though because he could. You see this.
yeah, he can go up higher.
He can scouting reposition, track target on conceal, and make it so that at any point in time during your turn or during the whole turning point, he can take that shot.
The question is, are you going to spend the CV to make 12? 9? And then
He can move up. He can scout reposition, sit there, go and engage, shoot at it twice, switch back to conceal,
Yeah.
and track target again.
So I might not want to start anyone up high.
It's risky.
I find the problem with him is because he's slow. It's hard for him to get into a good position to start firing.
You're right. You're right.
Whereas, like, if I put him up there, he has seek, and he can mark someone and get seek light, and no one can be obscured from him.
Yeah.
He's a decent sniper. He just doesn't do a lot of damage.
But there's no light cover for him to hide behind up
Yeah.
here. Right? You're the one with light cover.
Right. Because he chose the one with heavy cover.
The seek light would be important if you were deploying here and shooting onto this.
So because he has all the stuff where he can pop out, I might actually want to start him something like this instead.
Right. Because in most cases you won't see somebody deploy up there.
Right.
100% think you should do. Because if he tries to fight you,
But the fact that I know that he can basically remove anyone up there's protection, I might not want to start anyone up there because he might get a free shots off on me.
It's how confident are you that you're gonna win
Initiative
scouting?
and drop a smoke grenade on him.
How confident are you that you're going to win the scouting step? Not? Then don't do it. If you know that he's gonna play, look at this. You know he's gonna play reposition in scouting.
Maybe.
So you can play ploy. You don't want to play ploy. What ploy are you gonna take? Exactly. You don't care that much about going first.
Yeah.
Turn 1, especially if it costs you playing ploy for scouting. And if you did,
start
you would
stacking
take
my
first, but he'd already be up here. So you wouldn't even get that first shot.
So might as well just start him off in safety down there.
Yeah. because you're right. He is difficult to get into a spot where he can be a threat, but it's better than him being dead.
Activate that guy. Fall back.
I'd put him
That is one option.
where this person is.
And
Option B is
switch their positions.
Purge, you can go do something else. But his sorcerer is close enough. Come kill that guy.
Because now,
You can dash up.
And he's still in cover like that.
oh yeah, absolutely.
You have to watch out for that.
Yeah.
It's in
Is it about? Is it because of his base is half covered by the wall?
Yeah, get your cover line. It's not perfectly horizontal.
So I can fall
You got
back
this.
for 2 APL.
But your cover line is like this now. In what universe does he get there?
Right.
And you have
0. You're
Right.
safe. You're absolutely safe. Even in Turning Point 2, the odds of he could.
Mobile is useful. You could.
All right.
spend
And
it
what
like-
about her? Would you just sort of keep her nearby for the same reasons?
Oh wait, no, that's a strat thing.
So you're doing confirm kill.
Yeah.
It would allow you to
This
go
is important stuff to me. Like,
Yeah.
I find starting off, oftentimes I just like line guys up in a row without much thought into it, and I feel like that's not a good way to start off a game.
No. it's not. With confirm kill, you know you're hunting kills.
Yeah.
And you know that 2 of his biggest range threats are there. Like you're doing range threat shooting galleries. He's done the same. Where do you want to fight the strongest? Because you got to think about where you're gonna stack up your threats, right? You've got some insane melee operatives where if you get the drop on him, you can just charge and for 1-for-1 trade, not even lose a guy.
Well, I feel like this is my safest avenue because it's got the heavy cover, the
And
2 heavy covers.
To fight
So
his
this is
home
my
objective.
safest way to get that way.
Yeah. And if you win that,
Yeah.
it can win you the middle.
Yeah. So I feel like sort of hanging left this way is my lane that I want to kind of pursue.
So your game plan will be to secure your home objective.
Yeah.
Because that's points. You want to get over here and secure it. Like say you're
Gunner or whatever.
right, gunner, anyone, your agent, right? Your agent.
Well, he's going to hit the board with 3 APL, so he's going to be able to get there really quick if I need him to.
Exactly. And then everyone that you can rely on to do really good fighting, go to where you want the fight to be.
So don't put her there because she's ranged almost exclusively.
Exactly. So you can deploy her back here or along here, right? Or even behind this door.
Yeah.
And you know that she's ready to go wherever you need her to do her poison shenanigans.
Left or right.
But you have room for your important operatives. I would put her right behind this door.
Right behind the door?
Yeah. And
So you can
put
just
that
pop
there
out.
so you know she's under
So
there.
you can pop out the door and go any direction she needs.
Exactly.
Okay. So those are my first 3.
Nice.
Your 2.
Okay, so I think I want to support shooting here in the gallery with my incursor sergeant who's got saturate. And I'm thinking lots of cover.
Yeah.
This
Lots of
guy's-
staging
this
points.
Guy's gonna be the goat.
Take away those
Along
cover
with them
saves.
too. So following your advice from back then, I think I'll go with this window now.
And he does ignore obscuring as well.
Yes.
So-
yes, because he's an incursion.
Yeah.
Yep.
If they're on engage and they're over here, they're getting lit up.
Exactly. So I'll put that Sarge over there, and then I would like to start moving my Reaver. So I'm thinking he's very mobile. He's got his grappling hook. As long as he's safe under cover and he's got like easy access. Like I was thinking like behind this door, so that he can just walk out and do his stuff whenever.
In a perfect world,
Yeah.
you have him somewhere where in turn 2, he can either charge, kill, shoot, charge, fight, kill,
Okay.
shoot, plant a beacon.
Okay.
And he's doing that over here or over here.
All right. So do want him all the
you-
way across the board.
You don't know where his
Yeah.
melee operatives are.
True.
You don't know which side of the board it's safe for you to do that on reasonably.
Right.
I like how you think my melee operatives are threatening.
I
You
find
argue
it.
they are.
I find it weird that you think they aren't. Anything with 4 or 5 on it, with brutal. Oh my goodness. if you're getting charged, that's
Well, by that
why.
argument, then there's like orcs that are threatening in melee and stuff.
Well, they only have
5 up saves.
3 attack dice.
Oh, that's right. Because they're 4, 5, 3s on their choppers.
Yeah.
And so 4 attack dice or
It's
5 attack dice.
That's why I love playing Void Dancers into Marines so much. Because every blade you have is 4 or 5. I'm like,
okay,
it's
what's up?
free
Yeah.
gaming.
And then I do a murderous entrance and hit you twice.
Yeah, murderous edges. So I would hold off on the Reaver.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah. Because as you said, you want to know their team better.
Yeah.
Before you position.
You want to know what, because you can tell from his deployment what he's going, what he talked about.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know.
Right.
You would see.
Yeah. Okay. Very valid points.
And even then, like, so if it's on this side, you have this. You can go there and be here, so that next turn you can reposition, put it down, do something, move back.
Okay.
Or reposition, do whatever. Smoke grenade.
Right.
You know, dash back, smoke grenade. Do, like, he has options.
Okay.
And same over here, I would put him like here.
Yeah.
Where is this footprint in that wall?
Right.
Where is it? Yeah, back there.
Here.
So he can move right up. Next turn, dash, plant beacon, reposition back to safety.
Cool.
But wait till you know which side is better.
Okay.
Right
in that
now,
case, I think that would leave me with my comms man.
Yep. He's just giving you command points.
Yes,
every turn.
farming.
Fantastic.
So
Keep him safe.
I'll put him inside. Yup. Keep him safe, as you said.
There you go.
Oh yeah. And that's my second positioning of.
Okay. So here's where you're looking at putting guys down that don't give away your game plan.
Right.
How do you think you can do that?
Not give away my game plan?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we talked about putting the agent over there. So I would put the agent over there because not giving away my game plan is I'm trying to put my melee guys around here.
Yeah, because they're the guys that you want
to
to
move
forward with.
So I would start putting my other guys down over there to try to snake them out or try to dedicate resources there.
And not necessarily all of yeah. But if you say if
like
you
my
put
melee
your,
guys are essentially like the Flare, the Excelkin, and I guess technically the Darksider is decent.
Yeah.
Is decent in melee.
Not the Elixican, right?
No, I try to keep him alive just so you can keep.
He wants to
out
be.
those,
He wants to be on this side too, so that he can do the heals, right?
the heals and pass out the pain tokens. In fact, he ends up being a lot of my surviving guy at the end because I try to keep him around and hand out pain tokens.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, where would I put him? Like, where's a place to put him where he could take a pot shot if he wanted to?
Yeah.
Like just the side or around?
I like the agent. I like putting down the agent
over there. Yeah.
He's gonna be your action monkey.
Yeah.
You can set him down just beside that girl.
You like right beside her or like an inch away?
You want him to be on the wall.
Like right, like basically a back-to-back type of thing.
No, because then he can get shot at.
Oh, okay. So
if he's visible, he can get shot at and be obscured. And
right.
Remember, his team doesn't give a crap about obscuring. You can move through your friendly operatives.
Okay, so he's just gonna hang out right behind the wall.
Right there, because now he just has to get through her base and then go up, which isn't very far at all.
Because in theory, I want him to go tap the objective.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think is most likely for you to take advantage of Seek Light?
I guess if he's moving there or there.
There's not very many. If he stages here, you want to be able to see that. If he stages here, you want to be able to see that. So put your Sky Splinter somewhere where he could do either.
So somewhere in the middle-ish?
Yeah, because it's full range.
Yeah.
And you can get vision through this window if you need to.
Okay.
So if you're like back here,
he can pop to the window,
or he
pop
can
out to the corner.
He can repo dash
up into heavy there. So he's weird because he can double shoot.
Yeah, it'd be obscured. I would be more focused on that. Like, see, that's where you have a good option.
Yeah.
And he can move over here if you need him. Same with this guy. I was about to say, put him somewhere where he's
got
going to be
options.
useful, but say something goes wrong somewhere that you don't expect, he's not committed
Oh,
to
you
one
shot this guy
side.
still alive. He runs up there and heals enemy. Whatever.
Exactly. Or yeah, you somehow, some way have the opportunity to take a shot, move up, take a shot. Somebody's on engage, gets shot at back, miraculously lives. You have that play to go and heal them.
So yeah, mark means people can't be obscured and seek light. But to take advantage of that, it would have to be.
In light, yeah.
I don't know if I've marked people a lot unless they've been like I'm trying to like low wounds trying to kill someone. His double shot's kind of cool. The bird does crap damage, but the bird can hit anything anywhere pretty much, as long as you can see it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't pop out of conceal.
That's good. Chip damage against Marine. Remember, if you bring him down to 9 wounds, that's all you need. You can, with 2 shoot actions with Razor Wing, you can pretty reliably do 3 damage to a Marine. And then suddenly a charge and fight is the end of them.
Right. I like the unit. Some people say he's crap. I think he's okay though.
The Sky Splinter,
Yeah.
I think he's great.
Yeah.
What does the Mark do? You have Seek Light. So, okay. So you can mark and then use his Shard Carbine, which gives him Seek Light anyway. And that enemy can't be obscured.
No.
So you target something, and suddenly this has anti-obscuring.
What do you mean?
The enemy cannot be obscured.
But doesn't work for other people shooting at them, does it?
Yeah, absolutely. It says that the enemy operative cannot be obscured.
So now he can't be obscured from the heavy gunner?
The first one says, this operative's ranged weapons have Seek Light. The next point says, that enemy cannot be obscured.
So basically you can say, I'm marking that guy. Everybody, shoot that guy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if he's obscured. If he's a valid target, shoot at him.
Now, there's probably like a mark token, I would assume, being like, that guy's marked. Or whatever.
Yeah, I think that would be this one.
Okay. Or whatever.
Whatever
it's probably
works.
in the lexicon, but whatever. And you'd be like, that guy's marked, he can't be obscured. Everyone shoot that guy.
So now you know he's got heavy weapons on either side.
Yes.
His mark target bird is here, which can go pretty much anywhere.
Right.
It's hard for you to discern which side of the board is better.
Didn't really give a weaker side.
So a really good fallback is to say your Reaver is the best operative that you have for assaulting your enemy's home point.
Okay.
If you save him so that he's in a position, like say if he's back here on turn 2, he's hard to get at from the enemy, and he can either secure this and plant a beacon, or secure that and plant a beacon. And he's something that your opponent cannot ignore, no matter where he's at. Whereas if you go into play him here, you already have operatives here that can go and do this like that. Your Vox break, like, I think you're looking at having these guys be kind of like this.
Yes. Okay.
Like not even knowing your opponent's game plan.
Right.
Doing something like this gives you the best odds of success to make the most out of these operatives.
Perfect.
How did he get up that far?
They're not. I'm just.
Oh, okay.
I'm
like,
What happened? The future, right?
right? Because say you deploy him here or here, probably.
Yeah.
You have people who can come up, who have their shooting galleries. They can move up and secure your objective, and you have a really well-balanced deployment. So it doesn't matter where on the board you're fighting. You have options to fight for every objective and to get your plant beacons.
Okay. In that case, yeah, I'll start
Knowing
this guy.
that as soon as you move your Reaver up, you have to be aware that if he dies, he's your most reliable way of getting plant beacons in your opponent's territory.
Right.
If he goes down, if he does it in turn 2, and then unfortunately snuffs it, you need to have somebody else in a position where they can do it.
Yeah, move around and do everything.
Like don't put yourself in a position where turning point 3 comes around, your Reaver went up, planted a beacon, stole the enemy objective, and then died. Everyone else is still back here and can't get into good range to plant an aggressive
That's so
beacon.
many resources I'm gonna need to get my tank up going.
Yeah.
Because he died.
Exactly.
So box
And
breaker.
like I would probably deploy in
Yes, yes, exactly.
in here. Sometimes you deploy people in these rivets, like on really high operative count teams.
Yeah.
Or
Still
if
don't
you-
really understand how that guy is in cover. Is it because part of his base is covered?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you can't shoot at him from there
Because if I'm standing here, why can't he shoot him?
because you pick your side of the base
Yeah.
and go and draw to both sides of the enemy's base. That cover line is going through heavy cover.
Okay.
He's not a valid target unless you're within 2 inches or get to a point where you're breaking that cover line completely, which is right there.
I feel like I've been stinging myself on movement and good cover opportunities.
This is how you like cheat yourself into having heavy cover, but don't sacrifice a lot of movement. Because you know, in most cases, you would go, oh. In most cases, you would go. It's even better when you have huge bases. You can really take advantage of it. But if you're sitting here, right, in this game, everything is measured, and positioning is pretty much everything. What you have available to you. So if you're here instead of here,
Yeah.
I'm not saying this specific example is perfect, but in any given case, like say you're doing it here, suddenly it can be the difference between you being able to charge out and shoot something that's over there,
Right.
being able to see past, or it can be the difference between you being able to, like if you're here, instead of saying, oh, I'm definitely safe back here, if you're tucked in and you know that he doesn't have anybody that can threaten you without moving a really long way, that can be the difference between you being able to charge something that's back there or not.
Right.
If you have to come out
Suddenly
that full inch,
my threat is more significant.
yes,
to him.
exactly. Like just doing that instead of that
Makes him
is
both
almost
safe
a
and more
whole
threatening.
extra inch of threat range. So yeah, now you put down your guys. Remember, you've got a door right here. Oh, sweet. Okay.
No one's eating the pizza.
I need to remember where.
Dude,
Talking a lot.
Okay. So,
Brilliant.
because we're disclosing our plans, because we're all training, my melee is going to be in this area here.
Right, because they're stronger together.
All right. And there's a door, so it could.
And if you're fighting for that, you're also fighting for the middle. Because, like you pointed out earlier, everything's really close.
She is my best melee unit, but she can also shoot. So I kind of want to put her there in case she can shoot or attack someone.
Yeah.
So I want her nearest to the door because she's got the most options. Either her or the side break because he has a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas
So
that person's only
as
melee.
melee, or they could chuck a crack grenade into her.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
So if I just stick her by the door, and she's relatively like no one's gonna pop through the door and turning point one and attack her.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
What's that?
No one's gonna get to the door and turning point one to attack her.
No.
So she can hang out there pretty safely.
Like if he repositioned and got within. Sorry. Where's that? Do you mind if I use that?
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Thank you.
Like you're not sanctifiers, and they can't do that in turning point one anymore.
Right. Good point.
That team's got to get nerfed.
Move. Dash. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So she's safe.
So
ish.
it's one thing to say it. It's a whole other thing to be intentional about measuring out threat ranges.
But in the middle, like if I'm setting up, am I allowed to just measure things out before I make that decision and commit to putting a unit there?
Absolutely.
Well, my opponent's like, you're taking too long.
Well, then, in a tournament, there will be a clock. But that's, you get, with reps, you get used to things, right?
Get better at.
And some things you'll know, okay, yes, yeah, I know without a doubt, then that can't happen. But then you go and play against mandrakes or something that can teleport, and you go, okay, now we know that the calculation is a little different.
Right.
I have mandrakes, I just haven't painted them.
It's a ritual.
They're also
every
Drukhari,
time you.
right?
They're well, kind of. They are from Komarag, and they're kind of like Drukhari, but not really. They're shadow leaders.
As
So
as
would I
as
just
people
cluster
who
my
are
melee down here?
still like, I find it really beneficial when you're going through games to make it a ritual to constantly be measuring threat ranges. As soon as you go to make a move,
Be like a tailor, measure twice.
realize
Cut
it's
once, measure
starting
twice.
exactly. So you move
Fitting for the
yourself
first
up,
session.
remember where you were and where you're going, and then go, okay, what is my opponent capable of doing based on where I am now?
But to do that, I would have to know things like their movement, plus 2 inches for their charge range, the range of their ranged weapons.
Yeah.
If they have any funky abilities like tossing grenades with visuals or their psychic powers.
Yeah.
So I basically have to know every other team's abilities.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, you know his
There's
Yeah.
33
Or-
teams.
And there's no harm in asking,
Yeah.
right? As long as you, like you mentioned, in a tournament setting, not eating up too much time on the clock.
Yeah.
If you don't know, ask.
Yeah.
So he's gotta come out.
Like, so what we're talking about, can I just cluster these guys down there?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
why
they're
not?
just ready to do what I need them to?
Put the two that you care about most in front of the door.
He can't charge you here. What?
Like the two that you want to be able to go up the furthest in front of the door.
Well, I think those guys, because I like the fact that they have guns, so they can fire while they're doing stuff.
It gives you more options. And this person is really, really crazy as a follow-up. Like a Hail Mary.
She
You'll go
is.
boom, boom,
I
and then
never get her to last very long. And you would think, I mean, hitting on 3s, 4, 5 ceaseless should be good.
Goes 5 up with 1 engagement. This includes his engagement.
Her flay ability is kind of fun.
Okay.
He can't charge this way.
So I'm deployed,
Scout.
and he's deployed.
There's no way for him to go up over and charge me like
Scout.
Do you? They're under the chair.
Oh,
He could
Right.
move that shoot you, but again, because you have the sniper to go last, you can cover against any kind of move that shoot and at least go 1 forward. The sniper should, with 2 shots, definitely kill the space marine.
this is where we do the secret reveal.
Yeah.
Equip, reposition.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? So I took equip, and he took reposition, as
Alright.
predicted and advised.
Yeah, if that's your deployment,
Yeah, yeah.
you need reposition.
So now I can either decide, do I want to toss up a ladder for the heavy gunner? But I feel like not really, because I'm trying to create this lane with my melee, so a ladder is kind of pointless. Unless I just want it for the option, because then, oh, you can't dash up the ladder,
No.
so it's pointless.
You can think about
So I might as well
Okay.
take something like smoke grenades to keep people.
If you took ladders,
Yeah.
it would be to put here
Yeah.
and here
To try to get to those places faster.
because that's what would amplify your threat ranges, making it so you can position behind this heavy terrain and have that extra inch.
Right.
But you're already with a 9-inch charge, 2 inches over, you have 7. Your threat range is already out to there if
Right.
you're right behind this barricade.
So my thought.
So
like,
if you really want to be able to threaten that little bit extra further on their home objective, you can put a ladder there.
Yeah.
And then make it so you can also threaten more that way. But even then, putting it here, you can already get where you need to get within the stronghold.
Right.
So it would be maybe if you have to get on top,
So
for your people who really want to shoot.
my
or over
thought
there.
would be smoke grenades would be a decent option because it's got a lot of anti-obscuring, and smoke grenades would be surface survivability. I can't really put any mines or barbed wire in here to make it harder for him to do stuff. Unless I was
Yeah, outside of 2 of the door.
there's terrain too much in the way. Because isn't the rule does they have to be a certain amount of distance away from features, right?
What was the one faction tack up that you didn't faction equipment that you didn't take?
Chain snares.
Chain snares. Yeah, you don't really need.
So my thought is to go with smokes. That seems a pretty safe.
I like it.
Yeah.
Especially because you're confirmed kill.
Yeah. Because he's gonna pick up a token, drop a smoke grenade.
Yeah. Or
Okay.
go charge in, fight, drop the token, and then smoke grenade yourself so that you're harder to kick off of it because you know that he's mostly shooting.
Right. Okay.
He has
So-
2 guys that ignore the obscuring. So I don't know. Let's see.
I mean, I could take stun grenades and try to strip some APL.
Stun grenades would be really good. You could do 1 and 1.
One smoke, one stun. Why don't we try that and see what happens? Like one stun, one smoke, and then that way we can see what.
And that also gives you more options for your just visibility within 6 through a stun grenade. Because even if it only hits 1 Marine, if it goes off, that's a 2 APL Marine.
Yeah.
And that's pretty impactful.
Okay. So we'll do 1 on 1. And we'll just kind of see what. I feel like that way it's good for experimenting too, to see what sort of plays out in the scenario to be useful.
So I choose who.
And you already took crack grenade?
Yep.
I'm
into elites. I feel like crack grenades you can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
More piercing.
So, who goes first?
I say he goes.
Okay. So this is the weird part. I skipped a step with the Arcsibrite because I don't quite understand it. He has this cunning gambit thing where each strategic phase, if I pass the first opportunity, I get a CP.
You haven't skipped that yet at all.
Yes, we have, because we did the scouting step thing. Doesn't it count as a ploy?
No. That just determines who goes first in turning point 1.
So if he says I go first, I would say I pass.
You pass.
And then he does what? He has to play.
Now so that's your first strategic gambit.
Yeah. Doesn't choosing your op count as a strategic gambit?
Yeah. So I think technically because it's the first opportunity. You don't have an opportunity
to choose. Right.
That's interesting. I'd have to look at that on how people wrote. But I would say, because in turning point 1, first strategic phase,
because there's a risk of you basically getting basically having no crit off if you do that.
No, you can't pass up having your primary.
Or sorry, having no tack off.
Primary.
Oh. That's loud.
It's raining dice. Hallelujah. You got it.
So, I mean, we can ignore it for this
time. First opportunity. I would say the first opportunity that you have to be able to declare a pass, which in turning point 1, first gambit phase, you cannot pass. You're physically incapable because you have to lock in your primary.
Right
then. So.
Okay. I mean, we can ignore it.
I would do your primary, and then if you have I think it's if you have no other ploys, your primary,
right?
It's hidden, so I don't see why you would always choose to do it first, because locking in your primary is in the first strategic phase. Let me see, Vivek. Technically, when does locking in your primary happen? Does it happen before the first strategic phase, or it's your first strategic gambit? It's your first strategic gambit.
But it doesn't count against his pass.
It doesn't. No, because you can't physically say I passed that, so it's not your first opportunity.
After you declare primary, it's his ability.
Okay.
So he just said I'm going first. So if I said I pass, then he would choose.
No, you lock in your primary. He locks his in primary, and then you pass.
Pass in the first one, in
right.
one, you have to declare your primary. It doesn't affect it. So if you pass again, so you declare primary, comes back to you.
Yeah.
Now if you pass,
because that's your first actual opportunity that you have.
Right.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Picking up primaries is forced, so it doesn't preclude you from doing that.
Right.
So what's your primary?
Dun, dun, dun.
What do you think you're gonna do best at?
Isn't that's secret though, right?
Yeah.
But I guess we're talking
for the
purposes of the training
exercise. Just show them like this, and then. Well, if you're gonna discuss it, doesn't matter.
I think I will do best at my tack off.
Okay.
The confirmed kill.
Yeah. I agree.
I find that choosing to kill up primary is almost never a wise choice. I feel like it always. I guess it could be if you're playing like Goremongers or I don't know.
Kill Op is very matchup and map situational.
I feel like most of my default is usually going to be the attack off. Is usually the default one.
Tac Op is a really good primary to pick, unless you're in a map and matchup where you know going into it, it's going to be hard, regardless. Because sometimes the crit op is the choice. Sometimes the crit op is the choice. Here, I would say crit op is not the choice, because unless you have 2 operatives on each objective, he only needs 1 operative to come and
Because he's
take it
3
from you.
APL, he's going to
Right.
contest and win every time.
So if you have 1 person sitting here on secure, he only needs 1 guy to come in, take control of it, and secure it for himself.
So unless I'm really confident about killing his operatives, which I'm not necessarily, probably tack off is my best.
Tac op
shot.
is your best way to go.
So I will choose tack off as my primary.
Yeah. And,
Cool.
and you already know that he's got people, even before the game starts, in places that are hard for you to get to, unless you spend the whole game working your way to that point.
To get within 2 inches of this guy up in a crow's nest.
Or to be right here,
Yeah.
or up here, so that you can charge him.
Yeah.
I think tac op is your way to go.
Okay.
I think I'll go primary.
Okay.
I was thinking primary because I feel like even though my Reaver's all cool and dandy, relying too much on my tack up when he's kind of loaded with operatives.
If things go bad, your tac op can suffer
Yes.
considerably.
And I feel like I'll be able, as you explained, with my 3 APL, I'll be able to play.
You have a better chance of controlling objectives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's way easier for you to sit somewhere and secure it, and if all goes well, you can move on and keep it secured.
Yes.
But if things are going dicey, 2 Marines on an objective, there's no way your opponent is securing that without killing you.
Yes.
Well,
Correct,
I can't
so.
contest it by APLs because you just get out. You're
You'd
gonna have
need-
APL out of these like 4 guys on
You
the
would need
objective,
4, yeah.
which is not. That's half my team.
Exactly.
You have to be there.
Okay. So yeah.
The only other thing kill op is hard. Like
Right.
I'd be tempted, maybe if you were a really heavy Reaver team
Okay.
and you were going for that really aggressive
Like
Playstyle.
I'm gonna board
play.
this guy. Like I'm gonna just wipe
Yeah,
them
yeah,
out.
Yeah. Like, you have to, from operative selection, you have to know that that's your goal,
Yeah.
and set up things, because with Reavers you don't care about up down.
Yes.
Right?
You're
You-
just invading.
Even from here, you ignore all drop distance.
Right. Yeah.
So you'd have almost your full 9-inch
Yep.
range from up there, which is absurd.
Yeah.
But
So-
in this situation, kill off is not the way to go.
All
and tack off,
imagination
like
lore
you said.
aside, you literally pick your primary based on what you think you're going to be the most successful at.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like
'Cause,
I need those 3 extra points because this is the place where I'm going to farm the most victory points.
That's the mindset you. That's the question you ask yourself when you're locking in primary.
Which of
'cause
these categories am I going to have the highest amount of points?
It's in 3 thresholds, right? 2, 4, and 6. As long as you score 5 on one thing, and you chose that as your primary, that's 3 free points.
Right.
You need to get to that, whatever you think is most likely for you to score minimum 5 points on.
But you're going to make
It's
that
gonna-
decision based on what map you're on, what the mission is, and who you're fighting.
Yeah, yeah. And then and that's what you're considering that even from operative selection. Like you said, into some matchups you can change what operatives you're choosing, especially for Phobos, Warp Coven, Angels of Death. There's
Very
I guess
adaptable.
that's all elite teams. But teams that have a lot of different operative selections, like Ratlings or even Vet Guard, Death Corps now.
The Greek dudes.
Yeah, you have to be choosing what guys you're taking based on what you can score.
Actually, I had a doubt about that. Because as you said, a lot of teams, they got this wider range, and you pick according to your matchup.
Mhm.
So in that case, for example,
Knowing that
um, in the tournament, you would be able to see the team your opponent would have, and just from knowing that, you would like essentially
You start
yeah.
making a game plan.
Okay. Because when we're picking our operatives, is there an order, or is it like we all pick them and we reveal them all?
No, the only 2 things that are decided are map and what teams you're playing.
Yeah.
So you come to the table, you roll to see who's on what side, and then you choose your operatives.
Okay.
So like the only tournament I've played in, well, the only like tournament with a golden ticket, like everyone for every round, everyone on that round was playing secure, for instance. Is that typical of tournament setup?
Yeah, everyone gets the same
So
setup.
everyone's playing
Thank
loose.
you.
The primary is loose.
I use
Okay,
material, but
and that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
I got gift cards for Christmas.
It'll be
Pretty sure I
in
bought a buttload of
it'll be in
terrain,
leagues, like the narrative league that you played in.
Yeah.
In a regular league, the crit op will be different for each game. It really depends on the organizer.
Right.
And what they've decided. So baseline, read the player packet.
yeah.
Carefully.
Know what's going on.
Now you're looking at this. You know he can't kill you.
Okay, so
Cool.
you locked in your primary. You pass. You get another command point.
You could think about CP rerolling, but
Are you playing any ploys?
it would
Oh
allow you
yes,
to push
yes,
some
the
damage.
boys.
You
So
have a strategic gambit, don't you?
Yes, I do. Which also takes SCP, right? Like
unless
in the faction rules,
Oh, so
strategic gambits do take us. They do.
No.
No,
you
you can do this for free. Oh my
Maybe
god.
Space Marines.
Can you see anybody?
I mean, no. Well, actually,
it's very much a.
well, when you say if I see
You have
somebody,
one infiltrator or two?
I have 1,
Three.
2,
Force him to parry you, and
3.
you'll be doing a bunch more damage into him.
Yes.
He can see him.
If you happen to get a crit,
Yes.
Can he see him?
Can he?
but you're dead.
No.
Okay. So at the very least, I could slow him down.
There you go.
Well, I mean, it's like a free thing,
Grab
right?
a die.
You have a.
You go three.
Are you delaying his activation?
Three activations. It's not going to be really important in
Turning
this
point
turn.
one?
Yeah, of
Turn point
course.
one.
But like when you're in the middle of the action,
It's a little bit of insurance that he
Yeah.
isn't gonna like blow someone away with his
Mm.
like. You can make a bolder move now, knowing he's not just gonna like delete someone.
And that, if you know you just want him to sit there, you're not capable of just sitting there and passing with him
Yeah.
and seeing what your opponent does.
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing. A lot of times when you have that ability, you'll use it on something that's a direct threat.
Or I
you
can
have-
do
you-
I can do spend a CP and do the thing where I skip his activation and then
Yeah.
just
That wouldn't even put that down.
No.
But it's giving you time anyway.
okay, so yeah, that
You
was
use that on something that's an active threat that you can see, so that you can choose the pace of the turning point.
Okay,
and
yeah.
say, if he's gone up and staged 2 different threats that you have to deal with, and you go, okay, I can see this one, so it's one that I don't have to actually deal with
Yeah.
for 3 activations. Key.
Yes.
If there aren't those threats, you use it on somebody that's at the back or on his basic guy.
Okay.
Because often enough, something that's just in this case, it's an agent, or something that's just a warrior, is something that a team is going to use to just move up,
Yes.
do an action, just buy time,
monkeys.
because they out-activate you. They want to see what you're going to do.
Okay.
So if they have a basic dude that can just pass
Yeah.
and buy them time, they're going to do that. If you say delay that guy by 3, now they have to use a specialist
Yes.
to buy that time.
Okay. I like that. All right.
I also like that it frees up, like you can delay a guy because you're like, I want to go monkey around with this, so I'm gonna delay a guy over here.
Yeah.
It's like insurance. Like you're not doing anything while I go execute my plan over
Yeah.
here.
Or delay a guy over there if you want to make sure that this guy behaves earlier. And
Basically, you're forcing me to activate certain units rather than other ones.
Yeah.
Now, is it my activations or all activations for 3?
Your activation.
Oh, so just ones on my
Yeah.
team.
Only smoke grenades.
So Vox
There might
so
be
basically, he's
something-
sitting there waiting, and his helmets are sitting static, and he gets all confused and stuff because someone
Yeah.
scrambled his.
And it takes 3 of your other guys going,
Like, dude,
get your head in the game.
like, the bad guys are over there, or the good guys are over there. The good guys. I'm not
40K,
good guys.
are there any good guys?
In Warhammer,
Everyone's a bad guy. The towel.
the Tau.
The Tau, yes.
greater good.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
Does anyone play Pathfinders?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jake?
Way in?
No, I mean like here.
Cool.
Anyone here play Pathfinder?
Scotty plays Pathfinders now.
You
But
do?
not here. Scotty does.
Oh.
Um,
I mean in this room because I have dice I don't want.
oh,
Damn,
he's got all the dice. Do you have a
So this is where things.
now that you have the choice? Do you have a gambit that you want to do?
You mean a ploy?
A ploy or any other gambits? Don't you have more gambits?
Strategic.
No, not that one.
No.
Which is
No.
reasonable if
No.
now you are close enough to
Nope.
threaten that.
You already did this one. This guy's isn't a gambit.
No.
Okay.
It's like select women friendly operative that has yes, it is during the strategic gambit.
An option.
Okay.
You could go for.
Does that now?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's gonna pass out a pain token
Okay.
to.
Move the ladder, sit here.
I'm going to give it to my gunner lady over there, and because of sadistic competition, my agent gets one too.
All right.
That's the fun of the.
Cool.
Why did you choose them?
Why did I choose them? Because I wanted to get the agent. I want to get them. Because because I feel like this is an area I have these guys set up to try to do this. I guess I could have chosen these guys and try to sweep this way. So you would have chosen the melee guys instead.
You know what you're focusing on, and that you're focusing on confirmed kill, and your game plan is to really win this side of the board.
So you might as well choose the people who are here.
Yeah.
So
your bonus one goes on the agent anyway.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But choose one of these guys.
So I'll give it to my duelist because she's cool.
You're trying to stack your power over here.
Yeah, my duelist is a nightmare, so I want her to have a pain token.
Absolutely.
Cool. Question, Adrian.
Aiden.
Aiden.
Yeah, that's okay.
Almost got it though. Which one is the ready step of the strategy phase?
That's when everybody flips back over.
Okay.
So
When
in
do we
turning
start
point
playing
1, there
ploys?
is no ready.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So we're not playing ploys yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Strategic gambits and strategic
Okay.
ploys are in the same
Okay.
phase.
Yeah. So when do I play ploy? After I did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or before, like you could have done a ploy instead of that, or
Okay.
however.
It is your turn.
Yes. So I think I will. No, actually. No.
Sometimes the order does matter.
Sure.
Because if a ploy kind of gives away what your plan is for the turning point, you want to hold on to it to be the last ploy that you play. But
I do feel like putting the pain token on a certain thing does telegraph a little bit what I'm trying to do.
a little
Although
bit, yeah.
with the Crimson Duelist, she's just so good that having a pain token on her is kind of a no.
It's good anyway, yeah.
Like because she's nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, even if it doesn't get used until turn 3, you want it to
Doesn't
be
go
there.
away.
You know you want it to be there.
So I think that in this first turning point, I'm not actually gonna use any of my strategy points because they're like
No.
combat-y.
It's kind of the
Odds,
same.
yeah.
Like I have one that's Darkness Death. This one is basically when I'm activating someone, if I am not a viable target for someone, it's a pop out and I can turn a normal into a crit. Which is useless for this turning point because we're probably
Yeah,
not fighting.
it's really good, but
Not right now.
no.
This one gives me balanced on wounded opponents. No one's hurt. I'm
No.
probably not going to. Useless. This one gives me rending on my melee weapons. No
You're
one's
not
gonna be hurt.
charging anything
And
this
this
turn.
one gives me a defense die reroll if I'm 2 inches away from any offers, there's heavy terrain intervening, or any part of me is under advantage. Again,
Yeah.
so basically all of my ploys are useless turning point 1.
That's typically the way it goes. Like, unless somebody has deployed horribly wrong, or like you have alpha strikes that you've threatened, no ploys turning point 1.
Actually, can you tell me which one's your Alpha Strike character?
She is. What is she?
She's over there.
She's over there.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
I can tell you because I played Equip, I'm not using her Alpha Strike. You would know if I had played Reposition. Because that puts her 3 inches away from my drop zone. That means I'm intending for her to run up and whip a grenade at someone.
So as it is, she has to move out 2, up 5, and then be within 6. So as long as you don't come within that, if
I had chosen Reposition and put a pain token on her, you know what I'm about to do with her.
there you go. He can still, I think, pain token her somehow.
Not this round unless she hurts someone.
No. And then potentially get to there, but it's very unlikely.
Okay.
Her gun's not bad either.
Most of your guns are pretty
3-5
good.
range hit, lethal 5 stinger.
Better than a bolter.
And the stinger, if it explodes, 1 inch, the next person explodes.
So no gambits.
Nope.
Here's where you say, "Good luck, have fun,"
Good luck, have fun.
and
We begin.
Let's get it.
you're first.
Okay.
Your front half of the board is free. He did. He used contagion for free because his icon bearer is in your hand. That's most of the reason why he wants to be able to free, baby.
Are you guys waiting to see what I do?
Yeah, yeah. I want to.
So at this stage, do I
What do you
want the
think?
agents to start making his moves towards the objective? Or do I want to wait and see what he's going to do? Or is he just going to make himself a target for that guy?
So measure your threat ranges, right?
Yeah.
If you move up
Yes.
and you sit there,
Yeah.
can he
Charge in and kill me.
reposition
Yeah.
here
Because he's got 3 kills, so he could reposition, dash, and shoot is what I'm looking at.
and dash, so he can get to right there. Here, I'll put a little token down.
And this is what decides whether if I want to get him.
He can. That's where he can get to,
Yeah.
which would not be within 2 inches of you if you sat behind here, right? If you go over and sit here,
Yes.
you would be safe.
Can I get there though?
Yeah, why not? Move dash, of course you can.
I can't really see from where I am. I'd have to come down. So there's the agent there.
Yeah.
So you think he moves dashes? He has enough to get there?
So let's measure it,
I
right?
would say so.
So you'd be 3 inches out,
Yeah.
4 inches up.
Yeah, no
dash.
problem.
Let's see. So you're there. Oh, let me get over there.
Or do you want my bendy?
Right, your agent is sitting here.
These are actually kind of handy.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking into getting one of those.
There's a guy at
2.
Torchlight who 3D prints these, and he just hands them out for nothing.
Right, so you were 2 inches out.
Yeah.
There's 3 up.
Sure.
So that's 5. You have 2 more. Boom.
And then dash.
And now you have your dash. You can get
Yeah, he's fine.
right to here. And now, a good thing to look at. This is important for both of you.
Yeah.
You can make it, because right now, if you can see somebody, you can be charged from the other side of that barricade.
Right.
If you have visibility, which you do because Space Marines are really freaking tall. And
They're 8 feet tall.
for the purposes of control range, visibility is mutual, which means if one operative can see the other, they can both see each other.
Right.
But if you put yourself like this,
He can't see them.
so that you have cover, you can see.
But he can't fight him.
So he can get here and shoot you
Yeah.
because he's within 2 inches, but he could already do that anyway.
Yeah.
You are within an inch of the terrain, so you have cover. You're on the objective, but you're
Where's
1
this
inch.
guy coming from?
He's just an example.
Oh, okay. He's an example.
But your 1 inch control range is in the middle of the terrain feature.
Right.
So you can only get charged if they come around.
And his only option to do that is that guy, but he doesn't have enough movement
Not
to do it.
nearly enough movement.
So he's just gonna sit there with his 1 pain token and stay and conceal.
Like his best choice would be to move dash, be completely exposed, and then on a counteract, dash again.
Right. Which isn't necessarily in his best interest.
No, because that's a dead Marine.
So just to clarify, you said over here, invisibility to charge. So this guy, he's got visual and wants to charge. He wouldn't be able to do this to fight your dude.
If he was starting there, he
if
could charge
you-
around the corner.
If you charge around, yeah. But I'm
Okay.
saying
If he was out,
for somebody who's closer, like really snugged
Okay,
up
yeah.
against, like say for this, for example, right? You can charge here
Yeah.
and fight from there. But if it was that 1 inch back, you have to go around.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool.
And that's kind of something you keep in mind. So when you're trying to move up and stay safe and reduce your opponent's opportunity to come and punish you, if your game plan was to move up to there and move past it next turn, then you would butt up to it.
Right.
Like you would do probably with a melee operative. You would go right up against this because you want to be able to get as far as possible next turn.
Now at this point, I'm either putting him like
That's
I'm
too
putting
late.
him. I'm
Oh,
putting
you-
him here in order to also tap this.
Yeah.
Or trying to bait out his guys to do something about him doing
Yeah.
that in turning point too.
Yeah. You're staging yourself up on your home objective, and you haven't used any of your specialists. You're buying some time.
So
You
if
still
he
have the
starts
pain
sending guys
token.
this way, I'm going to try to pop out with my gunner and start blowing guys away.
Absolutely. And even then now, like, you don't even have to move your gunner.
No, she just pops around the corner.
Yeah, like you can sit right here and
And
she's
shoot
doing
again.
her job, because if this operative dies, you can come up and secure your point
Yeah.
or shoot whatever came and took it.
Yeah.
And if nothing over here dies,
Right. So basically, this
She's
is
still
so
covering.
far going according to plan.
you have two operatives that are
Potentially a third to reinforce them if they need it.
that are like, what's the words I'm looking for?
Kind of
Controlling your home side of the board.
Right. They're doing like I staged them literally to do what I just did. Like
Yeah.
this is the point of
That
what-
was your whole plan.
yeah.
Like
Okay.
use as little operatives as you can to make it so that you can score points and it's hard for your opponent to take those points away from you.
Okay.
Or they're putting themselves at risk to try to stop you.
To do yeah.
All right. My turn.
Youth.
I
Yeah,
will
first you do, make sure you pick your combat
start
doctrine.
moving
Or
my
first you do.
dudes.
Which is either going to be
Just
shooting within
how
6
far I can
or
take
white.
this guy. Am I able to hug the wall?
So
Remember,
that was
you
one
have
of
to
my
pop
activations. So
out
this
for
goes
one
down to
clear,
2, right? Because the agent moved. He'll go down to 2 because the agent moved.
Exactly. And also remember, you have 2 inches of extra movement on your counteract.
True. Yes. All right.
That icon bearer is threatening some shit. Because okay, let's just say you do that. He can activate that icon bearer.
Are you looking at a move
Fight your
dash?
guy. Reasonably
Yeah.
kill your guy.
Remember,
Still
you
get
have
an automatic crit.
7 inches of move.
And then
Oh,
another
so that
one
would
gets
be with
3
your
dice.
1 inch.
Yeah, with the
5
one.
dice.
See, this is what I was talking about with him,
You get to kill that guy.
right? Sorry,
You
I
don't
oh
concede.
shoot,
Kill that
That's
guy,
fine.
I could have brought it up
fight,
with
and
you when you were deploying. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
You
then
can
have to come
deploy
up and
like
do
this
stuff to try and get him.
and be safe.
That is
Okay,
an
yeah.
option.
So that I don't
It's
need that
especially
X-ray.
beneficial for your 32 millimeter bases, because there's a huge thing, and we can get into it when we're more into this and it's more pertinent.
Yeah.
There's a huge thing called non-reciprocal,
Okay.
where when you're setting up a threat that your opponent has to worry about, and there is no way for them to get it back at you without exposing themselves.
Okay.
Here is a really good example. You, where have I put this? Are amplifying your move. Say, for example,
You're in a very interesting spot because there are so many.
you're here,
Uh-huh.
and your opponent's
Like,
back here.
You could
Mhm.
dash this guy over.
No,
Take
that's
both
not a good
shots,
example.
you're
Over here.
Okay.
No.
You probably don't
Shoot.
kill
Or
him.
put another dude.
Yeah,
And then he's got to think about who's
behind
gonna go
here.
next before you
Yeah.
pick him up, sort of thing.
So your
Personally, I think
threat
one of your safest bets
is here.
is the follow the guy back double shoot.
Let's put it
Because
in,
he's basically already dead.
right? Your threat is now this,
Yes.
and in order to, so
Which
he's.
means your combat doctrine will be the close range shoot.
Gosh, how am I struggling to make this an example?
Because we've been doing this for 3.5 hours, and you're probably tired and hungry.
I had 1 slice of pizza. I need more.
I
It-
worked all day, came home to a 6-year-old, but I'm here.
So when you're looking at what you can do versus what your opponents can do,
Right.
um,
You want it so that they can
So
do the
that-
same thing that
yeah.
I'm doing.
it's easier to do when you have big bases because the terrain is more forgiving for you. You can be behind it and still have
Yeah, okay.
a lot of your base elevated to look at other stuff
Okay.
and make it so say you're here, right? You're obscured. He's just in cover.
Yes.
So you take
Which you would.
you're like this. You take an unobscured shot at them. They get a cover save. If they want to shoot back at you, it's obscured.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And that non-reciprocal obscuring is really important, especially when you ignore obscuring. So you can make it so that either way, it's obscured, you can shoot into them and ignore it. They shoot back at you, and they can't crit. And
Yes,
they,
yes, yes.
Like, yeah, they don't have their piercing crits or whatever.
Okay. Cool.
Keeping stuff like that in mind is important.
Yes. Okay.
I'm taking a picture of
Take a
not my face of this guy because I feel like this kind of positioning is going to make a very minor and yet highly advantageous change
Yeah.
in positioning.
Yeah, that's your.
That's like
You could have done that over here as well,
yeah with her.
right? And make it so that your agent had less to come out to pop out. It's your activation.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah, so
going
we'll
back
do
to
that.
This. It's already cleared out. Doesn't need to lose.
And now, now your 1 inch out is on a diagonal instead of perfectly horizontal.
Yes.
Right?
So now on your first 7.
I just noticed your shirt is Drukari as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've got a problem. I kind of went all in.
Reposition.
Yep.
Here. Then. Yeah.
Luckily, no one seems to think this team is trash. So that's.
It's a good team.
Like.
You have
like a decently high skill ceiling, competitive.
You have really good weapon profiles, really good abilities, a lot of tricks. 9 operatives is a fun operative count to play with.
I think one of my problems is I've played them very defensively, and this is not a defensive team. This is an offensive team.
Yeah.
This is an aggressive team.
That's the first time I read through their rules and messaged you. They seem like very killy. Into the right matchup. Like if you were to play into Vetguard or Pathfinders or something, you
Just go after them.
can just slaughter them.
I think my next matchup in the next Torch League might be against Pathfinders. I'm
There you
like, I just need to like go hard on them.
Yeah, just try not to get shot off the board, and as soon as you get into
10
melee,
mark lights on me.
Yeah, as soon as you get into melee, they fall apart.
Well, in melee, wouldn't they just crumble against me?
Yeah. They have 1 drone that has a high wound count that you have to play around, and that's
There's a drone that they have a double shooting drone, don't they? Like a.
With their control, we can go over that later.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, this is good. You're saturating your threat. You're moving up your.
Correcto mundo.
I like it.
All right. Up you go, Jeff.
Okay.
Contagion isn't in fact a safe.
So.
And now
If you had a
you're looking at your 6-inch range, right? You could get charged from the other side. If he puts a melee operative there and wins initiative, he can charge you.
True.
So be careful of that.
Okay.
But if he does, he can't reroll.
That is.
Oh, that's
true.
your Vox dude, right?
Could go really bad for him.
Yeah. So, what I'm thinking right now, though, this guy's. Well, not yet, but he will be Overwatch. He tries to go and charge here. He does the charge movement, and after that movement, before the fight, I can get to shoot him doing the Overwatch?
No, because he's in engagement.
Okay.
You can't shoot into
True.
that.
There's the only people who can do it. There's the exaction squad can fire into
Yes.
groups of people.
Yes. Right.
Although not a lot of people play them, although they look kind of fun. They got a lot of
Yeah,
weird
I
rolls.
want to start playing them. Kind of discouraging that apparently, like, you need 2 boxes to be able to get like all the options.
With the big
the
guys.
cops, you need to have a box.
Yeah.
Basically, you need a box and a half to do.
Exactly.
To do the Judge Dreads.
But they look really cool. I'm gonna paint them like Judge Dredd.
One guy at Torchlight, Sam. He painted them up as Judge Dredd, like they've got the green and the helmet.
Oh, that's cool.
It's pretty sick. Okay. So I feel like I want to get my melee guys able to start doing things about him in the middle here.
Yeah, you know where his anti-rerolls is?
Which means I don't necessarily want to go in that way. I probably want to go here first.
Yeah, because if either you play around it or
Try to
you
come at him.
shoot at it. So you know you have this 6-inch bubble. So now, if you still want to go here,
because I feel
play
like
for that little gap if you can.
Because I imagine what he's going to do is he knows this guy's going to mess up like he's gonna give anyone a hard time, so he's probably gonna send at least one guy this way. Would be my guess. Or if he sends both guys this way, I'm actually okay with that because my melee guys can probably deal with them on this side.
Yeah.
So he might end up sending them all to the middle.
His only melee threat is over here.
So
Yeah, he's
my
5 dice.
instinct is to start moving my melee guys into this next heavy part, setting them up to go places.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
means they're literally just walking through the door.
Going. I would start even still with things that are less important. Like your
because like I feel like he just needs to sort of hang out.
Yeah.
I think she just needs to hang out. He's not going anywhere because he's. So really, it's just those guys and the Excelicans.
Yeah, and you don't want to move up too far because you know if he ends up with a Reaver here, anything that's here can get charged at, and he can charge, kill, plant a beacon, smoke grenade, and stuff.
I mean, if I want to do something, I can move my Excelican in this direction to support these guys.
He hands out your pain tokens.
Yes.
Who do you want to have your pain tokens?
He has unlimited range on it.
What? Does he have to see?
Nope.
This guy could. That guy?
Visible to and within 3 inches.
No. Is it?
Oh, for administer drug?
No. That's only to regain with 2 to 3 wounds, select a different combat drug.
Yeah.
Then select the following. So you can change the drug, but otherwise it's just during the gambit, so anyone.
Oh, for his combat drugs.
Yeah.
No, for the at the end of select operative step.
No.
He doesn't. I don't think he has to be in range.
Oh, he's already so.
He's gonna be obscured, but he will take the
So giving. So he doesn't give one out. It just happens now because everyone has that drug.
Yeah, they're all drugged up on green light.
Okay. So you don't have anyone that you want to give Hypex or Painbringer.
No.
Okay. So
I can.
that would be your next guy to kind of just pass with. I would move up maybe because that's a hard cover line to break. If you're
that is the gun you want to use.
not that hard actually. That's not a safe spot for you to be.
He might get gunned by
Yeah,
that guy.
because you're obscured, but he doesn't give a crap about being obscured. I don't hate just passing back there, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, not at all.
But so I can just go like pass with him.
Or
one of these guys.
move him up here because you know you're gonna move them forward.
Yeah.
So move him somewhere where he can help next turn. You sit over here to help over here.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking moving him over here to support this side if it goes that way. Just reposition, hang out down there.
You don't know which side might go bad. Either like keep him where he can go either way still.
So then why don't I just pass with him and wait and see what he does?
Yeah. Exactly.
Very well.
And then you're down to 1 on this.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, actually no. Now.
You can even you have these 3 that you can keep doing that with. Even your gunner too.
Well, I'm waiting on the gunner activation just in case he somehow gets someone out in the open and she can take a pot shot at him.
Yeah.
Because she can, with a really good roll, she could in theory delete him.
Yeah, because as soon as you hit pass, then still he wouldn't.
You get 1 room.
It's very chess-like game.
It's 4D chess.
What if I do this?
It's
then you could do
addictive
that.
chess though. Like you get very like
Colorful chess too. All right.
I do like that aspect of it.
So the only thing I'm gonna do is gonna scoot a little bit, and then he's gonna go on guard. Even though he's concealed.
Track target.
Track target. Beep, 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 beep. And that's it.
So that's why I suggested they modify there because that guy is standing there.
Pretty standard.
Actually, I'll do that, and I'll just set up a little marker.
One thing you would do with him also is turn on his phone. Because why not?
Oh, his phone. Yeah.
I'll call you on a cell phone.
So, since all you did was move dash and you had an APL left,
Yeah.
and he's not doing anything else,
Yeah.
turn on his 8-inch range ability.
I mean, yeah, he gets
Where the hell is that dude? Box breaker.
Or you
Prospect
could shoot him,
scan.
you can come past the point.
Okay.
You have options. You have many options.
turn
When
it
we
on.
played,
just
you
'cause
said you
can.
preferred playing Warhammer 40k to
The
this
most
game.
aggressive option
Not
is you
not
put your
anymore.
engage
No, that changed?
Yeah.
charge
Yeah.
because you get the rerolls on the start.
Why? What changed?
Yes.
Because you got really good at this?
When did we play? A few months ago.
Yeah, like we played at the end of Colin's tournament, right?
Yeah.
You're not doing the second one. You just started.
No, I'm not. I started a new job, so I've
You've been
been way
busy.
too busy. But I went through a disenchantment and then kind of
Got
rediscovery of Kill Team since January, and it's been fantastic.
Coming up on time, so maybe wrap up the last few activations.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
2 crits and a hit.
Okay.
I'm sorry we haven't gotten into. This is fine though. Like getting to a turning point is good for learning about turning point one staging.
That's
is really cool.
partially
good.
my
I
fault too.
prepared it this way to be thorough.
Dude, I need this.
Yeah.
I need this first turning point staging to be like fixed in my head so that the rest of the game flows out from what you
Exactly.
plan in turning point one.
And not be fixing what
Not
you
even
did
that, like
wrong.
you don't want
Yeah.
to.
At the very beginning.
You're just setting yourself up for failure if
Yeah.
you're not.
You
You want to set yourself up for success.
exactly create a game plan, and right up until the first activation, all
You
your
need to build a
choices.
pivot, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like
That's why you've got these guys.
you take a shower, you shave, you put on your best clothes before you go to job. That's what you do with staging.
Yeah.
You cover all your bases, quite literally.
It seems like a lot of choices being made all around. When you start pulling that thread of how do I score victory points, it's all connected.
Yes.
Everything is serving that purpose.
Yes.
But I feel like
Um,
turning point one is more crucial than some people give it credence for.
A lot of people go, "Oh, nothing's gonna happen turning point one. I'll just
But where your guys are once turning point two starts is critically important.
yeah." Positioning is
It's what
the
makes
most important
what
thing
made
in the game.
Sanctifiers so broken is because their turning point one gave them immediate advantage
Yeah.
over every other team because they were halfway up the board.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah.
That stupid Pope.
In a game where measurement and distances are everything, your positioning is the most important thing.
Would you play
Where-
that? Would you
where-
play Sanctifiers?
I played against. Would I
No,
play
would you
as
play
them?
as them?
The second one, you'll feel free.
Yeah. I would try it.
What is your go-to team right now?
Right now, I'm getting into Warp Coven, but it's definitely for playing competitively, but definitely Void Dancers.
Still?
For playing competitively, Void Dancers. For playing for fun, Angels of Death. I'm getting into Warp Coven, Commandos, Phobos.
Work Commandos?
Yeah.
Cool.
I want to
They're
get
my
Little squig.
They're my next team, mostly
look
for
cool.
humor. And my brother's a big Orc fan, and I think I made him cry a little when I said I want to play some Orcs. In a good way.
Okay, let's do another activation.
Yeah.
Couple activations. See what we can make happen.
You're up. Yeah.
This is only 4-5. It doesn't make a difference if you kill them or not. Actually, yeah, roll your dice.
Oh, nice.
So I'm painting them like Death Skull. They're sort of bluish and
Yeah. I'm doing my purpley sneaky.
I wanted them to look like they could be like kind of in cahoots with my Drakari. I figured I wanted to be like evil
Unlikely
villains
alliances.
and kind of humorous villains at the same time.
yeah, the goons.
The goons.
So what do you think you would do?
Oh,
now?
with me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I would. My choices would either be to start moving my melee people into things, or literally just passing again, seeing what's happening.
Yeah. You can even pay.
Like
to
I
full
think what I would
pass.
do is
I wouldn't do that.
I would pass with my Arcsibrite because he's not doing any shooting anytime soon, and the other two melee guys are my lethal ones that I want to kind of get over here.
Well, remember, look at what he's done here.
Oh, you're right.
How much do you? So here's where you have a choice to make. How confident are you that you can go toe to toe with the Voxbreaker if you can't do any rerolls?
Not well.
Okay, then
Don't
don't stage here.
Okay. Depends on with who. I think the Crimson Duelist could do it because she hits on twos, so her threshold for hitting is low. But any other unit, I think they could just whiff and get murdered.
Okay, then I would put your Crimson Duelist right here. Wait to do that at the end of the turning point.
So that's why I'm like, I think I would choose either the Flare or the Arcsibrite and pass with them.
Okay. I would first, if you're just looking at stuff to pass with, I would do it with this person first.
Oh, I
Your
forgot about her.
Grenade girl.
Okay.
So she's just gonna
like
Full
caress her, grenade lovingly.
Going here isn't awesome because
Oh, he'll just shoot her.
Yeah.
And I would like her to. I really want her to poison someone before she dies. That's kind of what I want her to do.
Yeah.
Even if it's a space marine who's probably not going to care all that much about being poisoned, but
If he takes 3 on that D3, he
Yeah.
cares.
No.
Like into a 4/5 weapon, it hurts.
Medium amount.
I'm going to use my reverb. It's gonna go through the door over here.
So you can go straight 6.
Exactly.
It makes
About something like that, and then
You
just
probably had a little more, but I don't think
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need it.
and then just comfortably sit around over here.
Okay. And remember, what's your goal with that?
I want to know like where am I jumping next?
Mhm.
Does he got people here? Does he have people here? Just go up in there, use my free vision thing, plant, go back to
And
cover.
know that you're not too worried about this guy.
Right.
well, he's already activated, so he's not going to do anything to you.
You climb, so I would put yourself in a situation where you could charge that.
Okay. All right. And
So if next turn comes around, perfect. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe you even could from where you were, like
Okay.
to here.
yeah,
So now also, oh shit. Oh, excuse me.
you
Oh,
hate the bugs breaker.
I hate this guy. I do actually. When I play against Phobos, I
Right.
hate that guy so much. 6.
Because
Seven.
that ability is super strong.
You can charge this guy, or if he ends up being aggressive here, you can charge to defend your home objective.
Cool. Dope. All right.
And and if you have to on a counteract, if he does some shenanigans, that's where you're measuring those threat ranges. Now he can, if you do that, it depends on when, what he's done.
Dope.
Yeah, he's got to get.
That's putting you in a position to score points,
Yes.
Sorry,
regardless of what happens next turn.
Oh, that's fine.
Then you're thinking about all right.
Now you can pass with him.
Yeah, I can pass with him. Yay! Excitement.
This is turn 1.
I know.
The only maybe move him up here.
Him?
Yeah. Like
You think
we're
he's-
thinking about.
So
what-
would you put him moving up here? Would you put him a little bit away from the wall so he doesn't get sliced, or does it? I guess
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah, because you don't necessarily need him to jump over the wall and be a threat himself. So I do that 1 inch, 1 out,
and then stay in conceal.
and put him here so that he gets it from both sides of the wall. You don't want him.
And that's a reposition, so it doesn't matter. He's
You
not
don't
doing
want someone to be
anything
able to just walk over here and shoot at him for free. He's inch in, inch out along the wall, so he has cover. And you don't. The idea is with an operative with heavy dash, put them in the spot where they have the best chance of being able to shoot at something retaliatory without moving too much.
Right.
So here he can dash over it if he needs to catch an angle. He can dash this way if he needs to catch an angle.
The only advantage
If he's back here and something happens over here,
if he kills someone and gets a pain token, he can give himself another dash.
okay, you can double
Which-
dash.
It is a dash. It's a free dash above any other use, but it would cost a pain token, and you can only do it if he kills someone.
Right.
It's only okay, but it's nice if you kill someone and want to get out of dodge.
Yeah. So
As he lugs around his giant gun.
another thing you can think about doing.
If you have no CP.
No, you can't do it now. Well, if you,
Now
I wouldn't do it with him,
your other option.
but you could activate somebody like this guy
Yeah.
and try to bait out the track target, because if he takes it, then he's on engage. You can shoot at him.
Yeah.
That can be something you try to look for this turning point. But where are you happy with this guy, where he'll be able to shoot at stuff next turn with minimal movement? Because if he's here and this is his firing lane, most of the stuff that's in front of him is making his shots obscure. Unless somebody comes and sits right here, he's shooting into
So he might
obscure.
actually be better up here anyways, because he has more
Because
opportunities.
then where the action is happening that he's covering,
So does your sniper.
he has a better chance at shooting
Clear.
clear
and
shot.
possibly getting a crit and murdering a Space Marine.
And if you do that inch in, inch out, all you have to do is dash forward an inch,
Yeah.
shoot, get the kill, dash back to your inch in, inch
Spend
out.
a pain token. That's
Yeah. Okay, what?
So last question I want to do.
Sure.
How good of a strategy would it be to move my Reaver that's got the fugger obscurity and everything, and put him under this cover, essentially just guarding this cover?
Your marksman?
No, this guy.
That's your incursor sergeant.
Yeah, incursor. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, did I say Reaver?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I meant incursor.
That's okay. Incursor sergeant.
Yeah, my incursor sergeant, putting him under this cover, still concealed, but now he's kind of got like a better line of view of whoever sits on this area, or would he just?
The hilarious part about incursors and their ignore obscuring is that, like I was talking about earlier, your non-reciprocal obscuring shots, you get it built in for free without trying. You could even just sit back here
Okay.
and accomplish that.
Okay, I see.
Because now, say you're back here, you have cover from this. Since this, so there's a new rule that says if you're getting cover and obscuring from terrain that's within 2 and you choose one or the other. But since this is long, you're getting obscuring from here, and you're getting cover from here, and your opponent gets nothing.
Right.
Because you have saturate as well.
Damn.
So if you sit here and your goal is to make it so that he can ignore obscuring and have saturate and just be a monster at shooting down this lane.
Yeah, you can't go better than that.
If he shoots back at you, you're retaining saves. It's obscured. Remember, he has ignore obscuring as well on one guy if he gets visibility of you.
Yes. Oh shit. Okay.
But you'll see it coming. If he does that, he has to mark you and then use it on somebody else.
Yes.
So you have the chance. He'd have to do it after you activate that guy.
Okay.
If you're looking at getting non-reciprocal obscuring, but now you're locking yourself in, that guy has to take that point for you.
Yes. Which in
Which
that case,
not bad.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to do it this turn, right? You can wait. You can bait your opponent into coming up and being aggressive because they go, oh, he has nobody there.
Okay.
I'm going to go in and take his point. And then you go, I'm 3 APL. Sure, you came and secured my point. Now I come, I secure it right back. I shoot you.
And you're done. Okay.
Because you're playing a very defensive play style.
Right.
On this side.
Yes.
Because you got all shooting there. As soon as you move right here, he moves one of his melee operatives here. Turning point 2, unless you like box break that guy.
Okay.
You're getting charged.
Okay.
And probably killed.
Yes.
Maybe.
Fair point.
Maybe.
I don't always roll that hot.
There's
so.
always the dice, there's always
the
the dice
gods
roll.
will always pile upon you.
So I know it's anticlimactic or like
I know the gun's
not-
sticking out.
non-thematic, but yeah, you do that so you have room to put a guy there.
Right.
There. I love facing my guys the right way too. Sometimes it's not the right choice. Always be
For the sake of
aware-
the rules.
Always be aware of visibility from somewhere else. Even this guy should be like this. Because his gun was sticking out.
Oh, and you might want to get some up the side.
You never know when your opponent is going to run up and use something. Like you said, you have a grenade, uses only visibility. This is less likely to be visible.
Right.
Always keep that in mind. How am I less likely to be seen if my objective is to not be seen?
Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out now.
Okay, man.
See you, man.
Take care. Have a nice night.
Hope everyone had a good session.
Yeah, it's been
Been really good.
pretty productive.
You know, just popped into my head. What's stopping me from grabbing this model, jumping up the cable, and just putting the
Modeling for advantage.
Yeah.
It's frowned upon.
Okay. All right.
If that comes up in a tournament, a TO will say, "Hey, you've modified."
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that comes up when people have tip bash
Yes.
models. The TO has to approve it and say, "Okay, do you have a stand-in of the actual model that we can use?"
Right.
And if not, play it like this, play it like that.
Okay.
It depends on the organizer. But yeah, if you go in and say, I'm gonna chop off all the tall bits
Yeah,
of my
yeah.
Marines,
Oh yeah, this guy's somewhere antenna.
So they're less tempting targets. I'm gonna put them on one leg up on a base.
exactly. I'll put them on, like, a lot of people use cork for their basing, so their models are taller. It's like, that's fine. You're modeling for disadvantage
Yes,
now,
yes, yes.
and nobody cares about that.
Right.
Cool.
So you did this.
Yeah, I just did
Right.
that.
You probably want
That's
him
good.
to just kill him. 'cause he
What
can
are
do
you
it
up to,
safer
Jeff?
than hang out here, so he's gonna come up here.
He moves up there.
Gotta go on.
So now you know there's a few things that you, like, he set up.
I guess you won't now.
You see that non-reciprocal obscured shooting,
Yeah.
and you already know you set this guy up so that to mitigate obscured shooting this way.
Yeah.
How do you ignore obscuring?
Yeah, now shoot the plate.
The bird guy
Yeah. So where should he be?
around here.
Somewhere where next turn he can move to where he needs to be to pick a target and say ignore obscuring.
You do get to retain.
Up there's not bad. He'll get shot. So
Closer
it's
to
not
the
great.
building.
Gotta make it.
Straight up. Well, you could dash, and then say if you dashed, you're 1 out, 2 up, and then you can reposition, see where you get to.
Two more.
Yeah.
If you're sitting there,
Now this guy.
you're getting charged
Charge.
at from a reaver.
Okay.
Yeah. This guy
1
just
out.
dashes out.
So
It's over.
could he just start looping around the corner that way?
That's what I would do. I would reposition him 7 inches under there,
Yeah.
and then
Dash him up. Here.
dash him up to where your guy was there.
Yeah, so one normal will get him.
Are we supposed to leave?
He's dead. 4 hits on.
When are we supposed to leave?
I have no idea.
Right about now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now?
We should start right now.
Okay.
Let's
Alright,
start
so
packing, I
We're
guess.
gonna call it there.
Yeah.
Before we get
We are going to
excited.
I hope this was helpful.
Oh,
Yeah.
it totally was.
on.
I know that you
All
were
right.
they're going for that.
Your comms guy. When does he give you the extra?
Does
comm
make
points?
it fairly even.
That's why I was about the
Way
ready
off.
step in the
I guess we can't really like take a.
so probably turning point two.
There's no
Okay,
point
I'll
trying to
look up that
recreate
might
this,
happen
is there?
10.1.
Oh, okay.
There's not much point recreating.
No, we'll do a whole new one.
Maybe start the
You'll
session.
have, I think, Max and Vivek next week. You'll do a whole new game,
Okay.
and
you're going
you'll
to
get
the
a
book of
coach with a
material.
completely different approach, which will be good.
But yeah, exactly.
Yell and
We
scream
get
at
to
us.
see. Oh shit!
So here, yeah, you would have moved that guy
You would.
over here or up here somewhere where he would be effective.
We have one
Yeah.
CP.
Not to here, because then he would just go up here and
Right.
shoot you.
So
He doesn't have
would it be a waste
Kill you.
if I just like
Yeah.
move him a little bit, like
So
closer
So-
to the door?
you do
No.
here is
It's
But
not a
staying
waste
inside?
to sit right behind the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Good,
Okay, all right.
because
'Cause
then
that's-
you're
that's what I
safe.
was
You're
thinking.
not visible.
And keep on
The
farming.
only reason why I would be tempted to maybe put him up here
Uh huh.
reasonably
is because he still also cannot get shot
Yeah,
at.
yeah, true.
He's safe, and he can see things
On your
for
side,
your infiltrator delay ability.
Oh yes, yes.
get her done kind of thing.
Yeah, I would
What-
probably do that
Leave
instead.
the captain for last. This guy
Cool.
probably
And
still
he's
lives,
a
but
shooting
he needs to
operative
come
as
up
well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, you
definitely.
don't
If
really
he needs
need
to
him
shoot, he just
to run up.
flips around.
And when your reaver goes and does his bullshit, you have more people who can
Yeah.
shoot.
Do you know if guerrilla warfare can be used for anyone?
Yep.
As long as they got the AP,
Yeah.
they can.
That's
flip over.
yeah. You track target.
Yeah.
Take the track target shot.
Yeah, yeah.
Shoot on your counteract. Flip back to conceal.
Yes. Good. Good.
Oh yeah, he can do that flip back to conceal nonsense.
Yeah. It's really really good.
You got a token with the.
What is the? So you know how the commandos, their for defection abilities, they can charge from conceal.
Yeah.
So is the goal to try to charge and attack people, and then kill them and end your activation somewhere where you're safe and conceal? So you're trying to like bounce between places and kill people behind barriers and stuff.
That's completely the point. Yeah. So that's where playing against commandos, your opponent will try to do that inch in, inch out thing, so that you can't charge them. Because say for example, there's somebody. It doesn't matter if they're a marine. They're sitting there. You're a commando. You charge them. You're here.
Yeah.
They die. Now you're in conceal behind heavy cover.
Yeah.
So if you're playing against commandos, you're that inch away from cover, so that they can't take advantage of that.
And they don't plant beacons and stuff. So what do you?
I think we'll
They're infiltrate, seek, destroy,
What do you do? Like, what does the grot do for tap out?
surveillance.
What?
Surveillance.
So he just zips around.
Yeah,
surveillance?
because he can be here.
Omar,
Yeah.
do you
He
have
can be right here.
like a compendium
And
of
he
models
can
that you
see
can
this.
rest
Yeah.
So he teleports to that,
Yeah.
Okay.
has a valid target,
30 cult.
surveils,
That's good.
and then zips somewhere else.
And he's
Cool.
not like he can't be targeted by anything
Got
unless
some
they're within 2 inches of
operatives
it.
that
Yeah.
you, like,
Essentially,
you
or
would
they have,
literally
or they have
so-
full
and
So
killed
they either have to decide to chase him
So,
around,
I'm
try to
gonna
stop
look
him from
into that.
scoring
Might be
points,
worth
or
it.
just let him be.
You can tell me your
or
rate.
just let them score points
Yeah,
and try to
Okay, yeah,
either delete the orcs or do whatever you're gonna do.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, you're making your here. If anybody wants,
String.
I have string for when you have to try and figure out obscuring.
I was confused by that too. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Oh shoot, it's all
Alright.
tangled. You know when an operative is on vantage and you're doing a shooting action and you have to see if there's intervening heavy terrain for obscuring?
Oh yeah, we just actually did an example of that.
Yeah. String, bro.
Oh shit. That's pretty. That actually is. Hang on. All right. Put a guy behind that barricade for me real quick. The one right in the middle. Check the obscuring between the eliminator and him. It is obscured, right?
To here?
This has got to be the bottom of the base. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely.
Clever.
Ooh.
Sometimes the best solutions are the most simple.
Sure. You're playing AOD?
Not anymore.
Yeah, absolutely
I'm
obscured.
graduating him to Nemesis Claw.
Oh, are you?
Well, so particularly in this matchup, you have way more tools to
I
kill
cut these-
Plague Marines.
I cut these
Playing
way
Nemesis
too
Claw.
long.
Which one do you like better?
Way
That's what I was
too long.
thinking. Like, okay, I get the string,
him.
but
It's hey, now you can choose one point
Welcome. I just bring them.
and then get it around.
That's actually really cool.
Do you want it?
I
I
don't
have a
have
bunch.
anything for Corsairs.
Okay.
oh, whoa, what are those? What are those? You
Doing
got
string?
stickers?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Damn.
No worries.
Nice.
Who wants a
Thank
super
you.
long piece of string?
I'll take. That is a
Whoa, that
servitor
one's so
skull.
cool. Yeah.
You want a super long piece of
I
string?
do want a super long piece of string. This is how you figure out this is the tool for obscuring.
Yeah.
Do you have like a printer at the moment?
I evolved
Sick.
from using the line on my sweater because I always forgot to bring a piece
Okay.
of string.
I'm gonna play with that. 'Cause that's really intelligent. And what Occam's razor, simple solutions to.
Yeah.
I love that. Vivek, I don't have any Corsair stickers, or else I'd give you one because
Did everyone who wants one get this? You want one?
literally every.
Yeah.
Do
You get
I
get
don't.
fishing
I have,
line or something.
I have Hero Tech. I have a bunch of stuff from Comrade left.
Do you have a Void Dancer one? Because
I got it.
that's more of a like marking your kills on the side of my base.
Yeah.
I will.
I killed 4 operatives by they started giving it.
You got
Start from
extraction
goal is
squad?
double kill, and the start from goal is
I'm sorry?
double kill.
You got
Just lost the game
extraction
right
squad?
What?
With cops?
I don't have any stickers. I will look at it.
It's not a
No.
problem if you only roll 3 hit.
Yeah.